Chapter 677. What's wrong? Huamin lowered his voice and asked. Who's Wei Liao? Huamin, why do you look like that? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin curiously. You're so scary when you drink too much, I can't believe you actually lost your memory. Huamin stared at Jiang Xiaowei and said, word for word. Did I miss something important? Jiang Xiaowei really did drink too much that day, even though she took some hangover medicine. However, drinking that much still took her life. She might have pretended to be sober at Seductive Fox, but when she got home and went to bed, she basically forgot everything. The next day, when she woke up at noon, she saw that her ceiling was still spinning. She didn't eat anything that day, because it reeked of alcohol. She locked her door and pretended to be sick, afraid that her parents would go crazy if they found out. Jiang Xiaowei's parents were famous professors and came from a family of scholars. They had high expectations of her, and their family rules were strict. Therefore, her parents didn't know that Jiang Xiaowei was so rebellious in private. It seemed like Jiang Xiaowei really forgot. Huamin pulled her into his office and told her everything that happened that day. Ha! I actually did something like that. What do you think? You're still very inhumane when you drink too much. Huamin sighed. No wonder that Wei Liao kept adding me on WeChat. I thought he was harassing me. Huamin, oh right, did you record what happened that day? It must have been fun for him to run around naked, right? Of course not, Wei Liao would kill me. Only Suyu would do something so immoral. Huamin vaguely remembered that Suyu seemed to have recorded a video of him gloating that day. Other people wouldn't dare to record it even if they had more guts, really. Suyu has a record. Ha, then I'll go back and ask Suyu for it. Do you know Suyu? Huamin was a little surprised. I don't know him. Don't you know him? Jiang Xiaowei said matter-of-factly. Huamin, I know him, but I don't really know him. Plus, if Mr. Qin finds out that I've met Suyu in private, he'll get jealous. I can't do something that would make Mr. Qin jealous. Alright. I'll settle it myself. After speaking, Jiang Xiaowei got up to leave. Is the engagement still reliable? Who knows? Let them arrange it for the time being. When the day comes, whether or not I go depends on my mood. After speaking, Jiang Xiaowei turned around and left. Everyone said that Huamin was capricious. Huamin thought that compared to Jiang Xiaowei, he was like an idiot. This woman didn't even think about getting engaged. How could she stand him up? He was Gao Ran's cousin, so he had to take care of him. When Huamin got off work, he had to go back to South Hill Manor with Mr. Qin because it was Friday. Therefore, she enthusiastically went to GK first. Recently, GK was busy with the 30-year anniversary, so everyone was working overtime. It looked very grand. As soon as Huamin entered the company, all the employees greeted him. A young lady was already announced to the world by their boss, so no one dared to offend her. Huamin was about to go upstairs, but he suddenly saw Jiang Linyue in the lobby. He wasn't in a hurry to leave, so he lingered in front of the elevator for a while. Jiang Linyue was wearing a dark blue suit and black high heels. Her hair was loose, reaching her waist. She was beautiful, had a great figure, and was capable. However, it was best not to have any wishful thinking. Although Huamin usually looked gentle and honest, she had a very bad habit. She abhorred evil, and once someone truly angered her, she would never let them off lightly. Jiang Linyue glanced at Huamin, but she didn't seem to have any intention of greeting him. Instead, she looked down and played with her phone. Director Jiang, you're not young anymore, right? Huamin smiled and took the initiative to speak. Jiang Linyue tilted her head and looked at Huamin with a complicated expression, full of hostility. Chapter 678. Since you're not young anymore, you should have a boyfriend by now, right? Does it have anything to do with a young lady whether I have a boyfriend or not? Jiang Linyue asked provocatively. Huamin smiled faintly. Of course it doesn't matter to me if you have a boyfriend or not, but if you have ulterior motives towards Qin Chu, then I can't just sit back and do nothing, you know? It's really unwise to steal something that doesn't belong to you. Ha! I haven't even tried, how do you know that it doesn't belong to me? Jiang Linyue seemed unconvinced. You have to be capable to be a mistress. At the very least, you have to be liked by a man. If a man doesn't even look at you, then you're not a mistress, you're shameless, got it? You're the type that offers yourself to him, but he doesn't even want you. Huamin felt like there was no need to be polite when talking to Jiang Linyue. She should have slapped Huamian for taking Qin Chu's call in private that day. When they went home that day, Huamin specifically checked Qin Chu's phone, and sure enough, this woman deleted the call history. From the looks of it, Qin Chu didn't know about this phone call. It was rare to see such a disgusting woman with such a disgusting method. A young lady, aren't you always full of confidence? When did you lose your confidence? Did you come here to warn me because you sense danger? Is it because I'm making you feel pressured? Or is it because the boss hasn't been treating you well lately, so you're taking it out on me, huh? Huamin chuckled quietly. What are you laughing at? Jiang Linyue hated Huamin's fearless expression the most. It was as if she wouldn't be afraid even if the sky collapsed. I'm laughing at you. You think you're so smart, but you don't understand what I'm trying to say. Since you don't understand, then I'll be frank with you. I'm here to warn you, not because you're a threat to me, but because I don't want my things to be taken away by someone else. What I'm trying to say is, if you keep looking for trouble, then prepare a coffin for yourself, because anyone who touches my man will die. Just as she finished speaking with a smile, the elevator came down. Huamin walked into the elevator and ignored Jiang Linyue. Jiang Linyue stood in place, her face pale with anger. She really hated Huamin's face. If they weren't at GK, she would have beaten her up and scratched her face. What are you being so arrogant for? Wasn't she just relying on the fact that she had slept with a boss 7 years ago? She was already so scheming in high school, but don't forget that men were creatures who thought with their lower bodies. She didn't believe that Qin Chu and Huamian's relationship was stronger than gold. She had to try. Otherwise, she would have suffered all these years at GK for nothing. When Huamin entered the office, Qin Chu had not returned yet. She sat on the sofa and read a magazine while Xiao Yang poured her a glass of warm milk. Why is it hot milk and not coffee? Not tea. Huamin thought it was strange that Qin Chu would serve her milk. I'm sorry, a young lady. The boss said that you guys are planning on having a baby, so he doesn't want you to drink too much of that stuff. Tea is good, but it can cause insomnia, so milk is the healthiest. Did he have to tell me that himself? Huamin was a little dumbfounded, however, she still felt warm inside. After all, Mr. Qin had thought of every detail for her. When Jiang Xiaowei was at work, she received a special patient. The patient asked her to meet at a bistro. She curiously went to the appointment, but when she saw that it was Wei Liao, she immediately remembered what happened. Dr. Jiang, how have you been? Wei Liao smiled. You're the patient who asked me to see a doctor? Jiang Xiaowei was speechless. She was a psychiatrist specially hired by the Ministry of Public Security, and she would only see patients when the Ministry of Public Security arranged for her. Last time, when she went to hypnotize Ni Yang, it was Gao Ran who invited her. This time, the director of the Public Security Bureau personally called her, so she thought it was some big shot. It turned out to be this person. Chapter 679. Let me put it this way. Du Jinan wants to marry me because of the Jiang family's scholarly background. I don't have a romantic history, so it sounds nice to say that I'm suitable to be his wife. I want to marry him because he's young, rich, not ugly, elegant, and smart. Everything is perfect. At our age, don't even talk about love, because sometimes love is like a ghost. Many people have heard of it, but few have seen it. I didn't know you were such a pessimistic person. Wei Liao didn't expect Jiang Xiaowei, who had a pair of canine teeth, to be so sad. It turned out that she was such a sad person. She even thought that love was a non-existent thing. How pitiful, you've never had a boyfriend before. Does kindergarten count? Fine, you win. Wei Liao suddenly thought of something. It wasn't good for a woman to be too smart. No man liked a woman who was too smart. Even someone as smart as Huamin was still muddle-headed in front of Qin Chu. So, no matter how beautiful and outstanding Jiang Xiaowei was, she had never met someone who truly loved her. Or perhaps there was someone who loved her, but she didn't like them, so she never had a romantic history. Don't look at me with that pitiful gaze, I don't feel good. Come, Dr. Jiang, sit down and let's talk. Wei Liao suddenly felt sympathetic. Sorry, my time is precious. If you're not going to treat me, then I'm leaving. Seeing that Wei Liao was bullshitting, Jiang Xiaowei didn't want to waste any more time with him. Jiang Xiaowei was such a smart and logical person. After Jiang Xiaowei left, Wei Liao couldn't calm down. He felt that Jiang Xiaowei was too pitiful. She knew that marriage was like a graveyard, but she still stepped into it. Why did he feel so bad? GK headquarters, Huamin was waiting for Qin Chu, and he was a bit drowsy. Just as he was about to fall asleep, Qin Chu pushed open the door and walked in. As soon as he saw Huamin, his gaze became gentle. Honey, have you been waiting for a long time? Not long, about the time I took to drink a glass of milk. Huamin pointed at the glass and smiled. Good boy, drink more milk, and less coffee and tea from now on. I know. Huamin smiled. She rubbed her eyes and was about to speak to Qin Chu. Jiang Linyue walked in. President Qin, the list of all the drinks at the banquet is here. Take a look at the prices and brands. Put it here. Qin Chu didn't even raise his head. But, Huamin, Qin Chu's, Huamin, Qin. You flatter me, a young lady is too kind, Jiang Linyue said coldly. Huamin smiled as he walked up to Qin Chu. He intimately held on to Qin Chu's arm and smiled. Honey, Director Jiang is so capable, it would be a waste for her to stay here and be the director of a department. In my opinion, it would be better for her to be transferred to a subsidiary company and be the president. Upon hearing this, Jiang Linyue's expression changed drastically. Qin Chu only said coldly, she doesn't have enough experience. No, she's very capable. Last time, when I came to save the day, she helped me a lot. Honey, after the incident in T-City, you fired the president, and there's no suitable candidate. I think Director Jiang is the best candidate. Huamin said on purpose. Only then did Qin Chu look up, because he realized that Huamian was starting to be aggressive towards Jiang Linyue. The subsidiary company in T-City was a mess, and no one dared to take it, not to mention Jiang Linyue. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Jiang Linyue was scared out of her wits. She immediately said, President Qin, no, I don't want to go. I've been working in the luxury department for years, and I really like this job. Qin Chu glanced at Jiang Linyue and didn't say anything, as if he was calculating something in his mind. Honey, what do you think of my suggestion? Huamin coquettishly shook Qin Chu's arm. Chapter 680. Whatever you say, honey. Qin Chu's voice was always infinitely gentle in front of Huamin. Upon hearing Qin Chu's words, Jiang Linyue's face turned pale. The president loved his wife so much that he was willing to transfer a woman who didn't know how to manage a company. Yet, the president acquiesced. Was there still any justice in this? Director Jiang, what do you think of my suggestion? Huamin wrapped his arms around Qin Chu's neck from behind and smiled at Jiang Linyue. I don't think a young lady's decision is wise. After all, I'm only a design director. I don't think I'm good enough to manage a subsidiary company. Jiang Linyue was furious as she replied with clenched teeth. No, I think you're too capable. You've always done a good job. Being a design director is a waste of your talent. We believe in you. Jiang Linyue was about to refute. However, Huamin continued, of course, if you don't think you're good enough for this position, you can resign. After all, everyone has their own choices. Don't worry, since you've been with the company for many years, President Qin will give you an unemployment guarantee. Upon hearing this, Jiang Linyue's face turned completely dark. I won't resign, I'm good enough. Thank you, a young lady, for giving me this job, Jiang Linyue bit her lip and said stiffly. Oh. If that's the case, then you can take over today. Fly to Tea City tonight, there are still a lot of things waiting to be taken care of. Leaving tonight? Isn't that too soon? Jiang Linyue looked at Qin Chu pleadingly. It was as if she was hoping that the president would say something for her, but, do as my wife says. If you have any problems, talk to Assistant Yang. That's all. After Qin Chu spoke faintly, he lowered his head and continued to look at the data. Jiang Linyue's smile was uglier than her crying face. Thank you, President Qin. Thank you, a young lady, for helping me. She clenched her teeth and left with hatred in her heart. After Jiang Linyue left, Qin Chu looked up and lovingly pinched Huamin's cheek. This is the first time I've seen you jealous. You're so overbearing, what? You don't like it? Huamin tried not to laugh. No, I like it. If you're always so domineering, you can be the president of GK. I'll go home and cook for you and take care of the kids. Ha! All right, I'll keep my word. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. Of course, but the premise is that we have to have a child first. Otherwise, how can I raise it? After saying that, Qin Chu suddenly turned around and hugged Huamin, letting her sit in his arms. Hey, this is the office, don't mess around. Huamin was scared out of his wits. It's fine, there are no surveillance cameras in the office. It's not about the surveillance, but what if someone comes in? Huamin didn't finish his sentence. His words were drowned by Qin Chu's overbearing kiss. Of course, he knew that they were in the office. He didn't want to do anything, he just wanted to kiss her. So, wasn't his wife a little too impure for overthinking things? When Jiang Linyue walked out of the president's office, she had already cursed Huamin 1,000 times in her mind. She didn't think that woman would be so reckless as to transfer her. She didn't expect the president to agree. Was he trying to force her to resign? Back off. Would she? No, wasn't it just a branch company? She was going to persevere. She wasn't going to be easily defeated by that woman. Huamin, a little impatience spoils great plans. Director Jiang, are you okay? The assistant asked when she saw that Jiang Linyue didn't look well. Starting today, I'm no longer your director. I've been transferred to the branch company in Tea City as the president. After speaking, Jiang Linyue began to pack her things with a grim expression. When Jiang Linyue was transferred, the news spread within GK. There were also rumors that she offended the president's wife. That was why she was exiled. Finally, when it was time to get off work, Qin Chu held Huamin's hand and walked out of GK's headquarters. The two were planning to go straight home to South Hill Manor, but as soon as they got into the car, Qin Chu received a call. Young master. Madam Lin is in the hospital, the maid said anxiously. Chapter 681. Oh, really? Chin Chu's reaction was indifferent. Yes, she was just sent to the first hospital. Her blood pressure is very high, and the doctor said it's dangerous. Okay, I got it. When are you going to the hospital? The maid asked. I'll see how it goes. Chin Chu hung up the phone. What's going on? Min could tell something was up. My family called. They said my mom's blood pressure is high and she's in the hospital. Oh, okay, you should go see her. Although Min didn't like Lady Chin, she wouldn't stop Chin Chu from visiting his mother. After all, she was his mother. To her surprise, Chin Chu didn't answer her directly. Instead, he called President Wu. After hanging up, he said, President Wu said it's nothing serious, it's just that her blood pressure is a little high. You should go see her, after all, she's in the hospital, Min comforted him. It's okay, she's just forcing me to go back and apologize. I didn't do anything wrong, I won't give in so easily, plus, she shouldn't have treated you like that, so I won't forgive her easily this time. She's your mother. But you're my wife too. Okay, Mr. Chin, if people find out, they'll probably accuse you of forgetting your mother after getting married. Although Min said this, she felt sweet inside. After all, Chin Chu was willing to go to such lengths for her. If I always cared about what other people said, I wouldn't be where I am today with you. Okay, Mr. Chin, you're so stubborn. Min smiled. Then, the two of them returned to South Hill Manor. First hospital, did you make the call? Mrs. Chin glared at the maid in frustration. I did. What did he say? Young master said, he knows. He knows what? Didn't you ask him when he's coming to see me? Lady Chin asked fiercely. Yes, but young master said. The maid seemed to be afraid of Lady Chin and didn't dare to tell the truth. What did he say? He said we'll see how things go. What? I'm already hospitalized, and he still wants to check on the situation. My son wasn't like this before. He was very filial. It must be that little bitch Min who stopped him from coming to see me. I'm so angry. Your blood pressure is just a little high, there's no need to make such a big fuss and get hospitalized. I don't even know what you're thinking. Chin Yumin looked at his wife helplessly. What do you know? If I don't use some methods to pressure them, the Chin family will soon become the Hua families. Didn't you hear what those people said? Who was Hua Zhenghai? She's just a profiteer who covets our Chin family's property. That's why she got that bastard to stir up trouble in our family. Let me tell you, Chin Yumin. As long as I'm alive, I won't allow that little vixen to do evil. Do you understand? I must make my son leave her. Lady Chin seemed to have made up her mind. You're really hopeless. Chin Yumin looked at his wife helplessly and turned to leave. It was really tiring for his family to fight like this. However, Lady Chin didn't seem to have any intention of reflecting. Call Chu again, tell him that I'm critically ill. The doctor said that my life is in danger, Lady Chin said as she pointed at the maid. Madam, is that really okay? If young master finds out that I lied to him, will he? The maid seemed to be worried. Chapter 682. Just call when I tell you to. What's with the nonsense? Are you the master or am I the master? Since Lady Chin was pressuring her again, the maid quietly took out her phone and dialed again. Sorry, the number you have dialed is currently unavailable. Madam, did the young master turn off his phone? The maid quietly asked. It probably ran out of battery, it'll turn back on in a moment. Keep calling, don't stop. Lady Chin almost perversely pestered her son. Chin Chu knew this would happen, so he turned off his phone a long time ago. He had another phone that Assistant Yang and Min could contact. Therefore, he wasn't worried about an emergency at the company. Honey, you used to look down on other people, why are you suddenly interested in dealing with an insignificant employee of our company? Chin Chu was still in a good mood when he thought about how his wife taught Jiang Linyue a lesson today. He hadn't seen his wife so adorable in a long time. That's because she's too cocky. She wouldn't have died if she didn't ask for it, but she had to. I had to send her on her way. Why didn't you just fire her? Out of sight, out of mind. Chin Chu didn't have any feelings towards Jiang Linyue. In fact, he hated her. Therefore, he wanted to find an opportunity to fire her. However, Min said, I have to know my enemy well, I can't let her hide in the dark. If I fire her, who knows where she'll continue to cause trouble. It's better to keep her in the company, so I can observe her at all times. Of course, T-City is far away, but I trust that you'll take care of everything and won't give that woman a chance to cause trouble. Chin Chu looked at her dotingly. You're the smartest person in the world. You made the decision, and you meant what you said. Now, I have to deal with the aftermath. You're smart. Of course, you're my husband. Min smiled. When the two returned to South Hill Manor, it was already 6:30 p.m. The butler, Uncle Lee, had already prepared an exquisite dinner. Min and Chin Chu washed their hands and began eating. Honey, there's too much food, I can't finish it. Min didn't have much of an appetite recently, so he couldn't finish the bowl of rice the maid gave him. A young lady, let me pour it out for you. A maid immediately came up to help her. Give it to me, Chin Chu suddenly said. The maid was slightly startled, as if she didn't understand her master's intentions. Give me the rice, honey, that's my leftovers, we're all in this together, don't worry about the rice, Min joked. It's okay. I don't dislike you. Chin Chu took Min's leftover rice from the maid and gracefully put it into his own bowl. Then, he slowly ate his food. Min suddenly felt a subtle change in his heart. Her husband, a clean freak, actually ate her leftovers. She thought, even if it was his parents, he probably wouldn't do something like this. So, to him, was she really just his wife? Perhaps, in a way, she was more than just his wife. Min sighed emotionally as she held her chin and quietly watched Chin Chu eat. Chin Chu's table manners were the best she had ever seen. He ate slowly and methodically, even the expression on his face when he chewed was incomparably handsome. Although he didn't like to smile, perhaps it was this cold temperament that attracted her many years ago. It made her ignore the world's opinions and decide to have a passionate relationship with him. Why are you looking at me like that? Chin Chu looked up and saw Mian staring at him with her chin in her hand. Chapter 683. You're so weird. You're a clean freak, but you can eat my leftovers. Min vaguely remembered that when they were in high school, one of their classmates accidentally spilled milk on Chin Chu's clothes. At the time, the girl was very apologetic and offered to take the milk to Chin Chu's dry cleaning. However, Chin Chu took off his clothes and threw them into the trash can. Since then, he never wore clothes from that brand again. Everyone knew that he was a clean freak and kept people away. However, Min stepped on his feet and used scissors to secretly cut off the sleeves of his camouflage uniform during military training. He put a handful of chili powder in his water glass. He even slept on his desk and drooled all over his body. Now that he thought about it, those memories were simply too unbearable. Your leftovers are delicious, Chin Chu said out of the blue. Min was speechless. Honey, didn't you think I was annoying before? I was so arrogant and pretentious, and I always played pranks on you. Of course I did, Chin Chu calmly replied as he ate. Then why do you still like me? Who said I like you? Min was speechless. I'm obviously taking revenge on you. I hate you so much, that's why I'm keeping you by my side. Min was speechless. Okay, honey, you win. Huamin didn't know what to say about his revenge theory. After dinner, Qin Chu elegantly wiped his mouth and stood up. Let's go. Where are we going? Huamin looked suspicious. I heard that someone bought a lot of vegetable seeds and wants to grow them with her own hands, right? Qin Chu looked at Huamin, amused. Ahem, do you think I'm childish? You're right, you are childish, but I like it. If he liked her, he liked everything about her, including her childish nature. After changing into their home clothes, the two held hands and walked to the vegetable garden behind the castle. The gardeners were so surprised that their jaws almost dropped. Sir, madam, let us do this, or else you'll be covered in dirt. It's okay, we can do it ourselves. You guys should go get some rest. Huamin smiled. She and Qin Chu were busy talking about all kinds of things. Under the gardener's instructions, Qin Chu picked up a hoe and dug a hole. Huamin planted the seeds, buried them, and watered them. Huamin and Qin Chu were quite tired, but they were happy. By the time they finished planting, it was already 8:30 p.m. The sky was completely dark. The two of them sat on the swings in the backyard. Huamian nestled in Qin Chu's arms and swung on the swing. Then, he looked at the stars in the sky and listened to the sound of cicadas. Honey, did you know? This kind of life was something I didn't even dare to imagine, but now, it's happening, Huamin exclaimed. Qin Chu gently stroked Huamin's hair. If you like, we can live like this for the rest of our lives. Yes, for the rest of our lives. Huamin tightly held on to Qin Chu's hand. It was rare for the two of them to find peace in the midst of chaos. At the seductive Fox nightclub, Siyu had been very quiet lately. After his battle with Qin Chu, although he lost, his desire for battle was aroused. Therefore, he invested most of his energy into his company, trying to compete with GK Film and Television. While drinking, Siyu suddenly thought of something. He smiled and asked Wei Liao, the girl who made you run around naked the other day, have you been in contact with her lately? No wonder Lord Su was the big boss of the entertainment industry. He was very gossipy. Oh, her. I've been in contact with her. I plan on attending her engagement ceremony this Sunday, Wei Liao slowly said as he held on to his wine glass. Pfft, engagement ceremony. Su Yu and Tang Chuan both spat out their wine. Chapter 684. What's going on? Tang Chuan opened his mouth wide as he looked at Wei Liao. Even though Wei Liao wasn't the best at flirting with girls, he had never failed in his attempts. He finally met someone he was interested in, but now he had to attend her engagement ceremony. Nothing's going on. Wei Liao smiled helplessly. Have you guys slept together yet? Tang Chuan asked. No. Fuck, then I'm looking down on you. Tang Chuan felt like that girl was a cooked duck that flew away. That day at Seductive Fox, she was so ruthless. In the end, she was getting engaged, and the most unforgivable thing was that she hadn't slept with Wei Liao yet. Maybe we're just not fated. Wei Liao was honestly interested in Jiang Xiaowei. But she wasn't interested in him, plus, they were about to get engaged. They were well matched, so he shouldn't get involved, right? Don't say such depressing things to me. You have to learn from our Lord Su, even if you're married, you won't give up on her. What does that have to do with me? Su Yu looked innocent. He was being attacked for no reason. No, what I mean is, our young Master Wei finally met a woman who's not bad, not pretentious, not a green tea, and not a biological mother. I thought his spring was coming. Who would have thought that before spring came, it's already winter? Tang Chuan felt bad for Wei Liao. I can't help it, it's my fault for being late. Wei Liao spread his hands. At the mention of this, Siyu felt depressed again. So what if I'm late? It's fate that we met. I'm different from what you think. I won't pester Huamin, but I won't give up. It seemed like Su Yu had made up his mind. Look at Lord Su, and then look at you. Tang Chuan looked at Wei Liao with disdain. Wei Liao only chuckled. His personality wasn't as fiery as Su Yu's, nor was he as direct, although it was a pity to miss out on Jiang Xiaowei, but it wasn't that unacceptable. After all, they had not interacted much with each other. Therefore, he didn't feel too bad. He just felt a little regretful. The next morning Qin Chu woke up early and accompanied Huamin to have breakfast. Although it was the weekend, Qin Chu had to work overtime because GK was preparing for its 30-year anniversary party. Huamin wanted to go with her, but she had no choice. The board of directors of the Huo Corporation had to attend, so she could only return to the Huo Corporation first. Honey, come home early today. What are the benefits? Qin Chu smiled. There will definitely be benefits. I've already bought a whip and candles for you at home, Huamin teased. Qin Chu smiled. Okay, then I'll come home early today. I'll make sure to have fun with you. After breakfast, Qin Chu drove away. Huamin also drove to the Huo Corporation. On the way, Qin Chu received a phone call. President Qin, I found the IP address of that hater, a young lady. She's a woman named He-Man. Emisham, you guys know what to do, right? Qin Chu asked coldly. We do, but... The person on the other end of the phone hesitated. Go on. But that woman was in an accident and is still lying in the hospital. She was in a car accident yesterday and broke one of her legs. I heard that the driver who caused the accident fled, and the surveillance cameras at the scene of the accident were destroyed. I'm guessing that she offended someone else, so what should we do now? Should we just... The person on the other end paused, but his intentions were obvious. Chapter 685. Qin Chu was silent for 3 seconds. Not for now, let's observe her for now. If she continues to defame Huamin, kill her without mercy. Yes, President Qin. After hanging up the phone, Qin Chu let out a sigh of relief. For the past few days, he had been looking for the person who posted the post to defame Huamin. Huamin's 10 deadly sins had a lot of influence, plus his mother's stab in the back. Gossip was a fearful thing. Luckily, Huamin was more open-minded, or else he wouldn't have been able to withstand the pressure of public opinion. Qin Chu didn't know much about He-Man. He also didn't remember any grudges between her and Huamin. However, he just had to remember one thing: anyone who hurt Huamin would never be forgiven, no matter who it was. As Huamin drove to the Huo Corporation, he received a WeChat message from Huang Yu. Mian, good news, even God can't stand that bitch He-Man anymore. What's wrong? Huamin put on his earphones and called Huang Yu. Mian, she got into a car accident last night. It's terrible, one of her legs was crushed. She's still in the hospital for emergency treatment. The driver who caused the accident has already escaped, and the police can't do anything about it. She paid for all the money herself. I heard that her father came from the countryside and sold their old house, but they still didn't have enough money. Her sugar daddy saw that her leg was broken, so he ignored her. However, Ning Ziyuan came to visit her a few times. I think he left her some money, and then he left. I see. Huamin said faintly, God has eyes. That woman, He-Man, is so annoying. She came back to the hospital, and no nurse took care of her. Her parents took turns coming, and some relatives from her hometown came as well. This is karma. Okay, I got it. After hanging up the phone, Huamin suddenly thought of something. When he went to visit Wu Xiaoxue, he vaguely heard her say that she wouldn't let this go. Could this matter be related to Wu Xiaoxue? When Wu Xiaoxue got into a car accident, the driver also ran away and almost lost the child in her womb. Now that He-Man had met with an accident in the same way, was it really the will of the heavens? Of course not. Huamin felt that it was man-made. However, she didn't think Wu Xiaoxue did anything wrong, an eye for an eye. When they arrived at the Huo Corporation, there were still 10 minutes before the meeting. Huamin wanted to wait in the conference room for a while. Then, Hui Yanyan walked in. During the board meeting later, remember to speak up for my brother. This time, it's a decision to make him the deputy general manager. Our intention is to gradually take away Hua Xiqian's power. Dad has the same idea. You should know what to do, right? I don't need you to teach me what to do. Huamin lowered her head and played a game on her phone. Huamin. Do you think that you can do whatever you want just because you have Qin Chu's support, huh? Hui Yanyan asked loudly as she walked over with jealousy. Yeah. After I have Qin Chu's support, I feel like the whole world is mine. What's wrong? What's wrong with that? If you have the ability, then you can do it too. Don't you like Suyu? Then go ahead and do it. Why are you wasting your breath on me? What kind of ability is that? Hui Yanyan was so angry that her face turned white. I really want to rip that mouth of yours apart. Dad told me not to lower myself to your level, you bastard. I'll ignore you for now, we'll see what happens. Hui Yanyan really wanted to throw a tantrum. However, they were in the conference room, and the board meeting was in 10 minutes. She didn't dare to go too far. Soon, everyone walked in one after another. There were more than 10 board members, including Hui Yanyan, Hua Zhenghai, Shen Jiani, Hua Si, and Hui Yanyan. Hua Xiqian was the last to enter. After he sat down in the middle, he first looked around, then, his gaze landed on Huamin's face. Little sister Mian, your lipstick color today is really pretty. He smiled. After he said this, all the board members were dumbfounded. What was President Hu doing? Chapter 686. Thank you, Big Brother. Huamin didn't back down and called Hua Xiqian Big Brother for the first time in many years. She was now GK's a young lady, and she didn't want others to misunderstand her, especially Hua Xiqian's gossip. TSK. I've known you for so many years, but this is the first time you've called me Big Brother. I'm going to drink a lot this afternoon just because of what you said. Then, Hua Xiqian opened up the document in front of him, glanced at it, and slowly said, I'm sure everyone knows the purpose of today's meeting. We're here to make a statement and appoint my brother, Mr. Hua Si, as the Deputy General Manager of GK. Although the Huo Corporation is a family business, we can't do without the support of the shareholders. Therefore, I hope everyone can make a fair decision on this important matter. There's no need to worry, and everyone can say whatever they want. After Hua Xiqian finished speaking, no one said anything. After all, no one wanted to start this conversation. Hua Xiqian smiled and glanced at Hua Zhenghai. Dad, why don't you say something to cheer my brother on? Okay, then I'll say a few words. C is a big boy, and everyone can see that he has a good character and is humble. Therefore, in order for him to help his brother with the company's workload, I've decided to give him an important task early on. Please support me. After Hua Zhenghai finished speaking, an elder immediately followed suit. I support the chairman's decision. C has the ability. Everyone, let's begin. Hua Xiqian spread out his hands and smiled slightly. Hua Si leaned back in his chair, wearing a suit, looking arrogant. He believed that with his father's protection, he would definitely be able to get to this position and then find a chance to kick Hua Xiqian out. Yan Yan and I also support C, we all believe in him. Everyone, please give him a chance, Shen Jiani said gently. Mian, what do you think? Hua Zhenghai didn't let Huamin off the hook. Huamin seemed to be in a difficult position. It's okay. Just say what you want to say. Don't be afraid. We're all family. Shen Jiani smiled. That smile was so fake that it made people want to vomit. Let me think about it. Let's get everyone to express their opinions first. Hua Min smiled. Then, the others began to vote. Of course, there were also those who didn't want Hua Si to be promoted easily. After all, he was young and inexperienced. However, the final conclusion was that out of the 16 board members, 10 agreed and 5 disagreed. In the end, only Hua Min hadn't voted yet. Mian, have you made up your mind? Shen Jiani asked impatiently. Hua Min glanced at Hua Xiqian and saw that he was smiling very proudly. Therefore, she nodded and said, I support Si to be the deputy general manager. I believe he can do it. Hua Si looked at Hua Min with disdain. Wei Yanyan smiled proudly. Upon hearing that Hua Min finally agreed, Hua Zhenghai and Shen Jiani let out a sigh of relief. Hua Xiqian smiled as well. Okay, since the result is obvious, I now announce. Mr. Hua Si has been elected as the Deputy General Manager of the corporation. At the same time, he will be taking over the renovation of the old houses in the Western City. I hope you won't disappoint everyone. Of course. Thank you, big brother. Hua Si stood up and smiled. Everyone applauded. Xiqian, the project in the Western City is too big. If we give it to Si. Hua Zhenghai seemed to be worried. Dad, didn't you just say that you believe in Si? If you believe in him, then don't worry and let him do it. We have to believe in Si's ability. You're right, he's not a child anymore, Hua Xiqian said as he looked at Hua Zhenghai. After the meeting ended, Hua Min was just about to leave when Hua Xiqian's secretary called out to him. Miss Hua, the president wants to see you. Okay. Hua Min stopped in his tracks, turned around, and knocked on the door. Come in. You were looking for me? Hua Min asked straightforwardly as soon as he walked in. Sit down. I still have things to do. Hua Min refused to sit down. Weren't you pretty good at going against me just now? You were pretty brave when you supported Hua Si. What? Are you scared now? Are you scared that I'll teach you a lesson? Hua Xiqian laughed. Chapter 687. Upon hearing what he said, Hua Min laughed. How can you accuse a good person like that? I wasn't helping him. I was helping you indirectly. After all, you allowed him to be the deputy general manager. Oh. When did I allow it? Hua Xiqian continued to smile meaningfully. Do you think I don't know that aside from the old man, his wife, and his children, everyone else on the board of directors is on your side? I don't think that's their intention, it only means that you allowed Hua Si to be the general manager. How can you blame me for that? I was just taking advantage of the situation. Oh my. You're so smart. No wonder you waited until the end to say it. You were looking at everyone else's attitude. What if my people don't agree? What will you say? Are you stupid? If your people don't agree, then it's useless even if I agree. After all, the majority rules, so I won't go against them for now. After all, the time isn't right yet. But I like to kill with a borrowed knife, so it's not a bad idea to help you. Hua Min saw through Hua Xiqian's intentions and even did Hua Zhenghai a favor. He made Shen Jiani and the others think that Hua Min was on their side. Hua Mian's IQ was unparalleled, but what was the truth? She already knew that the board of directors meeting was just a gimmick. Hua Xiqian already allowed Hua Si to be the manager, which meant that he was going to teach him a lesson. Sometimes, the higher you fly, the more painful the fall. However, not everyone understood this logic. The old man probably thought that the board of directors still cared about his prestige and reputation. He didn't realize that Hua Xiqian already had the ability to control the entire situation, therefore, the Hua family was bound to lose. No, the old man and his family were bound to lose. None of them were a match for Hua Xiqian. Jiang Hong had been raising a ferocious wolf all these years. However, Hua Zhenghai had always treated her like a little lamb. Hua Min began to sympathize with these people who couldn't see the situation clearly. Okay. Mian, you're so smart. I like you so much. Hua Xiqian's eyes were full of admiration. Hua Min's thoughts were too comprehensive. She didn't seem like a 24-year-old girl at all. I don't like you. If you want to make a move, hurry up. That way, I won't have to do it myself. Hua Min reminded her impolitely. Don't worry, he won't be able to live for long. If God wants you to die, he'll make you go crazy. We'll let that idiot Hua Si have his way for a few days. When the time is right, his good days will come to an end. Do you know my favorite game when I was little? Every time I catch a bug, I don't immediately stomp it to death. Instead, I torture it to death bit by bit. Because I realize that the process of torturing people is extremely enjoyable. That's because you're a pervert. Society is so messed up. I'm not the only one who's a pervert. Everyone's hearts are twisted, they just don't want to admit it. Okay, that's your problem. We're just dealing with a common enemy. Remember, I was never your ally, and you can't use me. When this is over, I'll leave the Hua Corporation. I won't take a single cent from you. After speaking, Hua Min walked out. Little sister Mian, you're welcome to come home and stay for a while. Hua Xiqian added. That won't happen again. After Hua Min spoke, he left without looking back. Last time, if it weren't for the fact that she wanted to help Qin Chu turn the situation around, would she have made a deal with a devil like Hua Xiqian? Although she stayed at the Hua family for one night and nothing terrible happened, but Hua Min still felt unsafe, a faint sense of uneasiness. It was an indescribably bad omen. Mian, let's eat together. I booked a restaurant for Si to celebrate. Hua Min stopped Hua Zhenghai on the first floor. It's okay, I still have things to do. Then did you make an appointment with Qin Chu for me? That thing. Hua Zhenghai hesitated. Chapter 688. As expected, this old man always had a purpose behind his words. I've already told you. You can make an appointment with your assistants later. Then about Su Yu, you can't help Yan Yan. Auntie Shen said she won't let you help for free. She can transfer the ownership of the mansion at Eastern Zhejiang Ecological Park to you. All you need is a referral. Nothing else. I'm sorry, Mr. Hua, I don't know Su Yu that well, and I don't have the ability to take your mansion. It's too expensive. After speaking, Hua Min placed her bag on the passenger seat of her Audi R8 and got into the car. Give her a mansion? Did she need one now? Head nurse, I'm sorry to bother you on the weekend. Can you come back for a bit? What's wrong? Hua Min picked up the call from a nurse at South Side. A large group of fans and reporters are gathered here. I don't know who spread the rumor that Ni Yang is here for treatment and that he's suffering from depression. The situation is very chaotic right now. President Wu is in the States and can't come back. There's no one in charge here, so Director Li told me to call you. Wait for me, I'll be right there. Hua Min stepped on the gas pedal and sped toward South Side. Ni Yang's medical records were leaked. Who leaked it? How many people knew about it? When Hua Min arrived at South Side, it was indeed a mess. Even someone as calm as her was frightened by the situation in front of her. A large group of fans surrounded the entrance of the hospital. There were also various news outlets and the police, but it seemed like the situation was still in a stalemate. Gao Ran, what's going on? Hua Min hadn't seen Gao Ran in days. Seeing that he was giving orders in the middle of the crowd, she went up to him to ask. Don't even mention it. I don't know who leaked the news that Ni Young was here to treat his illness, but they're all in a mess now. I haven't eaten all morning, and I've been here trying to maintain order. I told them to leave, but they wouldn't listen. These fans are so shameless. Gao Ran complained. This was supposed to be a matter of the police station, but there were too many people, and the police force was not enough. Requesting backup. In order to prevent further trouble, the director had personally ordered him to lead the team here. All right. I'll go in and take a look. What's the situation inside? As Huamin walked in, his phone rang. Sister Huamin, ancestor, where are you? Huamin called Ni Yang a few times on the way, but he couldn't get through. He was also very anxious. I'm trapped on the top floor. I don't dare to go down. Some fans disguised themselves as patients and sneaked into the hospital. What should I do? I can't get out. I still have an interview in the afternoon. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? Huamin was also helpless. Director Late said she'd give me a checkup, so I didn't think much of it. I don't know who leaked the news. Sister Ingzi is mad at Director Lee right now. Alright, just stand there and don't move. I'll be right there. After Huamin went in, he changed into a white lab coat. Head nurse, you're finally here. Hurry up and take a look. The truth was, Huamin knew that he was just a small mayor and didn't have the ability to stand up for the hospital. Although after Deputy Director Guo's accident, the position of Deputy Director had been empty, however, there were still a lot of leaders who could step in. As for why they didn't step in, it was because they didn't want to take responsibility. After all, this incident was too sensational. If they handled it well, they would feel that they deserved it. If they didn't, they would definitely be punished. Everyone would push Huamin out as cannon fodder for a thankless task like this. This was because they felt that Huamin's current status was too prestigious. Even if something happened to him, President Wu wouldn't blame him for President Qin's sake. Huamin understood them, so he didn't complain, even if he was used as cannon fodder. After she went up to the top floor, she saw Ni Yang pacing back and forth in the hypnosis room with a mask on. Sister Huamin, you're finally here. What should I do? There's still an hour before the interview starts. I haven't even changed my clothes or put on makeup. It's only half an hour to get to the TV station. What should I do? Chapter 689. If it was any other interview, they could cancel it, but Legend was a live broadcast. They already advertised it, so if they didn't do it, they probably wouldn't be able to do it in the future. Jean Lon was a very principled person. Don't worry, I'll think of something. Huamin didn't know what to do, time was of the essence. Those fans are amazing. They can recognize me no matter what I'm wearing. Even if I'm dressed as a woman, they'll probably recognize me. There are so many people at the entrance of the hospital right now. Not even a fly can get out. Ni Yang was a bit regretful. It would be a shame if he couldn't get on Legend. Outside the door, his manager, Sister Ingzi, and Director Lee were yelling, "How many times do I have to tell you what your hospital is doing? You can't let anyone know about this, it's ridiculous, now the whole world knows about it. I'm telling you, if there's any negative news about Ni Yang, I'll sue your hospital and you, the attending doctor." Director Lee was an old woman, but she had never seen anything like this. We've always been good at keeping secrets, I really don't know what's going on. Don't worry, we can discuss it together. Discuss what, huh? They're blocking our way. Legend started advertising half a month ago, saying that Ni Yang is going to do a live broadcast today. But now, there's only an hour left, and Ni Yang still hasn't left the hospital. There's a sea of people outside. What do you think we should do? Director Lee was an old woman, but she didn't know what to do with the hot-tempered sister Ingzi. She lost her confidence and was about to be overwhelmed. Huamin opened the door and walked out. Don't trouble Director Lee, I have a way to get you guys out. A young lady. Ever since Ingzi found out that Huamin was Qin Chu's wife, she was very polite. She didn't dare to yell like she used to. Yes, I believe that our hospital is very good at keeping secrets. We'll investigate the source of the leak, but it's not the time for you to worry about that. The interview is more important, so I'll think of a way to get you guys out. Ingzi knew that Huamin would definitely put GK's reputation first, so he definitely wouldn't leak Ni Yang's information. Naturally, he trusted her. All right. But do you have a solution now? I feel dizzy looking at the people at the door. Even a mosquito wouldn't be able to fly out. Those paparazzi aren't ordinary people either. They're the kind of people who want to dig up other people's graves. Sister Ingzi was a little worried. It's all right. Both of you, come with me. Huamin looked at Director Lee, who was sweating profusely. Director Lee, you should go and rest first. We'll talk about our hospital later. All right, thank you for your hard work, Huamin. Director Lee also knew that at this time, no one was willing to stand out. Huamin had no choice but to take up the responsibility. At the very least, he had to protect Ni Yang and South Side. Imperial Star Headquarters, President Su, do we need to use public relations to deal with Ni Yang? Why should we mobilize public relations? He's not one of our artists. Suyu calmly practiced calligraphy in the CEO's office. Half an hour ago, Ni Yang's situation blew up, so of course, he knew about it. No, what I meant was, should we send someone over to cause trouble? After all, he's a GK artist, and was still brooding over the fact that Ni Yang originally agreed to sign with Imperial Star, but in the end, he joined GK. He felt wronged for his boss. Women are the ones who kick people when they're down, not me. You haven't eaten yet, right? Hurry up and go eat. Yes, boss. After An left, Wei Liao called. Huamin is also at South Side, don't you care about him? Ni Yang's illness might be real. I think Huamin already knew about it. I heard that the interview with Legend is in an hour, but apparently, Ni Yang and his agent are stuck at South Side and can't get out. Their RV is surrounded by people. It's so crowded. What does that have to do with me? Suyu asked calmly. Don't you think that Huamin is always able to turn the tide at a time like this? I'm looking forward to seeing Huamin's performance, haha. Then, Wei Liao hung up the phone. Suyu put down the unfinished brush in his hand, picked up the remote control, and turned on the TV. On the TV, the situation at South Side was being broadcasted live. This damned girl seems to have a trick up her sleeve every time. Suyu murmured to himself. He was indeed looking forward to Huamin's performance. Under these circumstances, how could they help Ni Yang break out of the encirclement and get to the TV station? The difficulty level seemed to be 5 stars. Sister Huamin, you still haven't told us how you're going to help us out. Ni Yang quietly followed behind Huamin and asked. Chapter 690. Even though he knew that Huamin was omnipotent, Ni Yang was still worried. After all, they were in too much of a hurry. Plus, he would feel bad if he gave Huamin a hard time. Huamin, who was walking in front of him, suddenly turned around and looked at him. In all seriousness, he asked, "Are you superstitious?" Like if there's a taboo, I'm not superstitious. Ni Yang shook his head in confusion. Are you afraid of the dead? I don't think so. I haven't seen one with my own eyes. Ni Yang wondered why Huamin kept asking such strange questions. A young lady, hurry up and tell me, we're really running out of time. Sister Ingzi kept looking at her watch. She was about to collapse. if she offended Jean Lon, she probably wouldn't be able to become a legend anymore. Chin Chu, on the other hand, didn't seem to know the answer to this question. The higher-ups at GK headquarters were holding a closed-off 30-year anniversary party. Fine, that's all we can do. I hope you won't blame me for being too immoral. Huamin made up his mind and led Ni Yang and the others to a small, secluded building. There was a big sign on top of the building. Ni Yang looked up and was dumbfounded. A morgue? Sister Huamin, you're not asking me to pretend to be a corpse, right? Ni Yang wanted to cry but had no tears. No way, it's bad luck to pretend to be a corpse. Sister Ingzi immediately said. Huamin glanced at them and said calmly, I'm not asking you to pretend to be a corpse, I'm asking you to follow the corpse truck out. Do you have the guts to do it? Ni Yang was dumbfounded again. We don't have time, let's go. It's fine, it's just a corpse, it won't. Sister Ingzi made up her mind and said. 5 minutes later, a transport truck carrying corpses slowly exited the hospital from the back door. Although there were a lot of media and fans at the back door, no one doubted the van. Ni Yang was wearing a white jumpsuit and a mask. He was sitting in the cold storage at the back with his sister Ingzi. In front of them were the driver and the transporter. The body was wrapped in a long black bag. Although it looked scary, Huamin explained that the deceased was an old man who had died of old age. The body is being transported to the funeral home for cremation. Don't be afraid, moreover, they did not have to stay in the car for long. As long as they left the hospital and got off the overpass, everything would be fine. An hour later column that everyone paid attention to myths and legends. He knew that Ni Yang was trapped in the southern district and was waiting for the mythology officials to slap him in the face. As a result, a strange scene occurred. Ni Yang was wearing a handsome coffee-colored trench coat as he sat in the live broadcast room for Jean Lan's interview. In the end, the viewership ratings were N points higher than before. The entrance of the TV station was once again blocked. Is Ni Yang a fucking god? His car was in the hospital, and everyone saw that he was in the hospital and didn't dare to come out. How did he do that? Can he teleport? Tang Chuan exclaimed in the WeChat group. This is probably Goddess was doing again. Wei Liao laughed. Su Yu had been silent the entire time, but he felt that if someone could transport Ni Yang out of South Side without anyone noticing, other than that weirdo Huamin, no one else could have done it. Ni Yang, have a seat. Hello, Sister Jean Lon. Ni Yang actually smiled, which was rare for him. Ever since he received Huamin's unconventional treatment, he was indeed a lot more cheerful than before. If he was at the peak of his popularity, he would never do interviews because he was afraid that he would say something wrong. Everyone has been paying attention to your contract. Can you tell us why you gave up on Imperial Star and signed with GK instead? Jean Lan's questions were always sharp. After she asked, the entire room was in an uproar. Everyone was waiting for Ni Yang's answer. Chapter 691. Imperial Star is the company I wanted to sign with, but something went wrong. Can you tell me what happened that made you make this sudden decision? Jean Lon asked. Ni Yang was silent for 5 seconds, then, he scanned the room and slowly said, because I want to help my sister. Sister? You have a sister? Jean Lon asked. No, she's not my biological sister, but she's more like a family member. I respect her. Then, does your sister have some sort of relationship with GK? Yeah, my sister is a young lady from GK. As soon as Ni Yang finished speaking, the room went into an uproar. Gasps of surprise came from the crowd. I met her by chance. I thought she was a nice person, so I decided to call her my sister. Didn't her company start a film and television company a while ago? We're close, so it went without saying. Ni Yang smiled. I didn't know a young lady was so popular. There were rumors online that you two were close. So, you're siblings. Great, everyone finally knows. After Ni Yang's livestream ended, it caused quite a stir. However, it also cleared the rumors that Huamin and Ni Yang had an ambiguous relationship. By the time Qin Chu walked out of the conference room, the problem had already been solved. He listened to Assistant Yang's long-winded explanation from the beginning, then, he lowered his head and remained silent for 3 seconds before asking, so, when one of GK's artists is trapped, the company won't do anything, but my wife will? Then what's the point of spending so much money on a PR team? Is it just for show? Assistant Yang knew that the president was furious from his tone. Don't worry, sir, a young lady is very capable. She's already solved the problem and successfully transported Ni Yang out of South Side. I've already spoken to her on the phone. As for Ni Yang's negative news, it's been covered up by the live stream. The point is, if you need my wife to do everything, do you think I'll bring you home to feed? It wasn't that Qin Chu didn't want Huamin to interfere with GK's business, he just didn't want his wife to work so hard and always worry about his company. She was already tired enough at South Side. Boss, it's an emergency. We wanted to find you, but you're in a closed meeting. We can't get in. Oh. So you're blaming me? No. I just think that it's a good thing that a young lady can help us. Boss, please don't be angry. Spread the word. All employees in the PR department will be deducted 50% of their salary this month, and all employees in the PR team under GK Film and Television will be fired. All of them. Is this really okay? Why aren't you going? Qin Chu glared at him. Yang was so scared that he immediately ran away. The boss didn't get angry easily, but when it did, it was very scary. As soon as the news came out, it immediately became a hot topic on Weibo. Was GK's PR team incompetent? No, they were a gold medal team that had experienced hundreds of battles in dealing with crises. A team that could even whitewash an actor who had cheated. This time, it wasn't because they were incompetent. It was because their young lady was too strong. Who in their right mind would think of hiding Ni Yang in a corpse cart? It was so terrifying that it was perverted, but Huamin did it, and it was very safe. After dealing with Ni Yang, Huamin went to find Director Li. Director, there's a mole in the hospital. I don't like the fact that Ni Yang's incident was leaked. I suggest we investigate it. No way, only you, I, and President Wu know about this. Director Li shook his head. Could it be that our database was hacked? That's not possible. In order not to attract attention, I even changed Ni Yang's name, so no one should know. Director Li, think about it, other than us, is there really no one else who knows? Oh. I remember, there's someone else who knows. Director Li suddenly thought of someone. Who? Huamin looked up and asked nervously. Chapter 692. My Chi-Chi. Director Li said slowly. Huamin was speechless. Chi-Chi was Director Li's daughter. She was only 16 years old and was in her first year of high school. If she knew, then, go back and ask her, she might be a fan of Ni Yang. I hope this isn't an internal problem at our hospital. Emichim, what about the reporters outside? Should we make a statement or something? Director Li asked, feeling a headache coming on. There's no need for that, those people were here for Ni Yang in the first place, and if we didn't respond, they'd naturally stop bothering us. Also, don't come to South Side for Ni Yang's treatment in the future. Let's just arrange a private meeting place. We can't ruin him. Huamin was still very protective of Ni Yang. After all, depression wasn't something to be proud of. Once it was exposed, it would be quite troublesome. Ni Yang finally got a little better, and Huamin hoped that it wouldn't be ruined by these messy external factors. The storm finally calmed down. Huamin stayed for a little while longer, and after seeing that everything was fine, he drove out of South Side. GK headquarters. A young lady, you're here. Emichim, what's wrong? Why do you look so down? Huamin felt that Yang wasn't in a good mood today, as if something was on his mind. After the president found out about what happened today, he went crazy and fired the PR team at film and television. The PR staff at GK headquarters were also implicated. Anyways, the president was unhappy the whole afternoon, and we were all scared. Why did he fire so many people? Huamin was shocked. Because the president said that if he had to deal with everything, then what was the point of having those people? Okay, let me go take a look. Chin Chu's tantrum caused the entire GK headquarters to be in low spirits. Huamin didn't knock, he directly pushed open the door and walked in. Get out. Chin Chu was in a bad mood. With his back to the door, he leaned back in his chair and pondered. Honey. Huamin opened his mouth. Chin Chu felt like his heart was about to melt. He immediately stood up. Honey, why didn't you call me when you were done? I'll go pick you up. It's okay. I just received a call from the hospital in the afternoon, so I went to deal with it. Huamin had just sat down. Assistant Yang immediately brought over some warm milk, and then tactfully left. Honey, did they make you mad today? Huamin asked with a smile. Chin Chu sat beside her and nodded with his arm around her shoulder. Huamin picked up the milk and took a sip. Anger hurts. Come, have some milk. As she spoke, she picked up the cup and placed it next to Chin Chu's mouth. However, Chin Chu didn't drink it. Instead, he moved closer to Huamin's lips and kissed her clean. Don't be like this. Huamin blushed. Drinking like this shows my sincerity. Chin Chu smiled. No matter how bad his mood was, as long as he saw Huamin, heard her talk, and saw her smile, Chin Chu suddenly felt like the sky had cleared up. His wife was so magical. Don't be angry because of these things. I don't want you to be angry. You're already tired of being in this position, and you still have to worry about these things every day. I don't have the heart. Huamin raised her hand and gently stroked Chin Chu's slightly furrowed brows. I know, honey. Just then, Huamin received a text from Director Li on her phone. Huamian, it was Chi-Chi who did it. She accidentally told her friends about it at school, and those kids didn't watch their mouths and were used by the media. I'm sorry, I almost caused trouble for Ni Yang and the hospital. Director Li sincerely apologized. After Huamin replied, she looked up and said, Honey, let's go eat. Chin Chu looked at his watch. It's not time yet, honey, there's still an hour left. It's okay, let's get off work early today. Everyone worked hard for the 30-year anniversary. You should take a break too, okay? Sure. Chin Chu then stood up and called his assistant. Tell everyone to get off work an hour early. Then, Chin Chu and Huamin went downstairs together. Oh right. Jiang Linyue went to T-City to take up her new position, right? Huamin asked Assistant Yang outside the president's office. Chapter 693. It's all in the past, a young lady. Good. Huamin nodded. Jiang Linyue was truly an annoying woman. Huamin sent her to work at TNT with one sentence. It was her karma. She claimed to be the president of a subsidiary company, but she was actually just someone who cleaned up a mess. After such a huge incident, it was impossible for her to make any progress in a short period of time. However, Jiang Linyue was indeed strong-willed. She still hadn't resigned. She still chose to grit her teeth and continue working. An opponent like her was actually quite scary. Halfway home, Chin Chu received another phone call. This time, it was from his father. Chu, come visit your mom when you have time. She's fine, but she's been in the hospital for a long time. I think she's a little out of it today. I got it. After hanging up the phone, Chin Chu's expression was as calm as ever. Why don't you go? Hua Min wanted to persuade him. Honey, what do you want to eat? Chin Chu interrupted her. Ling Ling said that one of her relatives opened a roasted pig trotters. It's pretty good, and she wants us to try it. I'll be a good person to the end. I even helped her make an appointment with Gao Ran. Speaking of which, it's been a while since the four of us got together. Yeah, it's rare that we have time. Chin Chu smiled. When the two arrived, they parked their car, but they still couldn't find the so-called little idiot pig trotters. Hua Min called Zhu Lingling again. However, Zhu Lingling said that Gao Ran would be able to find it. Sure enough, the Jaguar was parked behind their Maybach. Gao Ran didn't even have time to change out of his police uniform. Hello, guys. Lingling said that you would be able to find it. Where is this place? Hua Min was confused. Oh, it's in the residential area. Go through this alley, then turn left and walk 50 meters. Then, turn right and you'll see it. It's so secluded, how can anyone eat in this area? Don't tell me you've lost everything. Hua Min sighed, good wine doesn't fear deep alleys. I heard that this restaurant was on a local food show. Business is very good. There are often no seats, and people have to line up. You often come here with Zhu Lingling, right? Chin Chu glanced at Gao Ran and asked faintly. No. It's my first time here. It's your first time here, but you're already so familiar with the roads. Your brain is better than a god map. Chin Chu mocked him. Ha! Hubby, you're so annoying. Don't be so direct. At least give us, the people's police, some face. He doesn't need to give me face. His skin is thick enough. Damn it. Chin Chu, your second uncle, you're starting to pretend in front of me, aren't you? It's your treat today. I'm going to eat a few more pig trotters. Then, they walked into the alley together. Sure enough, after turning left and right, at the end of the alley, they saw a wooden sign with the words Little Idiot Pig Trotters written on it. With this name, no one is as smart as Idiot. Idiot is enough, but they added pig trotters. Are they afraid that they're not stupid enough? Their chef isn't stupid at all. She just looks silly and friendly. She's the sister-in-law of Venomous Tongue Ling's third cousin, damn it. They're not even close. Hua Min was speechless. As soon as the three of them walked in, Zhu Lingling came out to greet them. She wore the simplest outfit today, a white Adidas sweatshirt, black sweatpants, white sneakers, and a ponytail. She looked very girly. Gao Ran stared at her for a while. Hua Min coughed lightly and teased her, you're dressed so beautifully. Do you have ulterior motives? Go away. When am I not beautiful? Come and sit, I've already ordered good food. I want 2 more pig trotters because Mr. Chin is paying today. Look at you. 2 pig trotters are enough to make you eat. Zhu Lingling glared at Gao Ran. Mr. Chin is paying, you guys can eat as much as you want. It'll be a waste if you don't eat. Hua Min smiled. How can you cheat your husband like this? Chin Chu lovingly pinched her face. Hua Min smiled like a blooming flower. She didn't notice that someone was staring at her beautiful face. Lord Su. Should we go somewhere else? Tang Chuan, the foodie, heard his friend recommend this place, so he couldn't wait to bring Su Yu, Wei Liao, and the others here. He didn't expect Hua Min and the others to be here as well. What was that saying again? Enemies often cross paths. Chapter 694. It's okay, this place is fine. After speaking, Suyut strode over and sat down at a small wooden table. Tang Chuan and Wei Liao followed him. Qin Chu turned his head and saw Suyu. He nodded and greeted him with the most basic greeting. Suyu wasn't rude, so he nodded and greeted Qin Chu back. Huamin was laughing when she saw Suyut sitting across from her. She immediately stopped smiling, turned around, and obediently walked over to Qin Chu. She didn't have much feelings for Suyu, but the way Suyu looked at her made the entire world jealous. No matter if she cried, laughed, hit, or threw a tantrum, Suyu seemed to like it all, and he always looked at her affectionately. Huamin couldn't stand the look in his eyes, and she felt a lot of pressure. So, most of the time, whenever she looked at Suyu, she would subconsciously look away. Wei Liao, on the other hand, was quite proactive. He walked over and smiled. Huamin, Jiang Xiaowei's engagement party is tomorrow, right? Yes. Okay, I got it. Are you going? Huamin looked at Wei Liao strangely. Yes, but I'm not going to steal the bride. Don't worry. Wei Liao seemed to know that the man Jiang Xiaowei was getting engaged to was related to Gao Ran, so he said this with a deeper meaning. Then, he left. He just wanted to make sure that he remembered the date correctly. Jiang Xiaowei. Don't tell me you guys are talking about my cousin Du Jinan's fierce fiancé. Gao Ran knew Jiang Xiaowei and Du Jinan, and he knew about the engagement party tomorrow. He was just a little curious. How did Wei Liao know Jiang Xiaowei? To be honest, Gao Ran really didn't like Suyu and the others. In his eyes, those people were all money-burning playboys. Although Gao Ran was also rich, he had sacrificed a lot to get to where he was today. Ah, it's her. How does she know Wei Liao? Gao Ran took a sip of beer and asked. I don't know. Huamin didn't want to talk about this, because what happened that day was like a prank. It might affect Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao's reputation. Gao Ran was a smart man. Seeing that Huamian didn't want to talk about it, he didn't want to ask, who's Jiang Xiaowei? What does she have to do with you? Are you hitting on girls again? Zhu Lingling didn't understand half of what was going on, so she asked sourly. Before Gao Ran could explain, Huamin said on purpose, yeah, she's Gao Ran's old flame. Damn. Huamin, you tricked your husband, and now you're tricking me. You're going to change your name to Huatrapper tomorrow. Ha ha ha. Huamin couldn't help but laugh again. Suyu couldn't help but look over. He didn't know how a girl like Huamin could laugh so recklessly and without any pretense. Her laughter was even a little devilish. She didn't pay attention to her own imagination, but it was too real. No wonder Qin Chu liked her so much. He liked her too. Suyu quietly picked up the beer on the table and took a big gulp. Lord Su, take it easy, the food hasn't been served yet. This restaurant's pork trotters are delicious, Tang Chuan gushed. However, Suyu didn't seem to be in the mood to listen. His heart was completely focused on Huamin. Sea City wasn't that big, but the chances of them bumping into each other seemed to be increasing. Since Qin Chu announced Huamin's identity, she might be attending many events as GK's a young lady in the future. However, was this what Suyu wanted? Did he want her to be by another man's side every time he saw her? Did he want her to hold another man's hand, and torture him together? Just then, the pork trotters arrived. Perhaps because there were too many dishes on the plate, one of the roasted pork trotters accidentally slipped off. It fell right next to Huamin's hand, burning her pinky finger. Ah! Qin Chu and Su Yu's expressions changed upon hearing her scream. Chapter 695. Huamian reacted quickly. She jumped up the moment she was scalded. When she realized what was going on, she rushed to the sink. He repeatedly washed the scalded area with cold water. Luckily, it wasn't too serious, just a few red marks. By the time the others realized what had happened, Huamin had already returned to his original spot. Why are you all looking at me like that? Huamin noticed that the other 3 people at the table were all looking at him strangely. Let me see. Mr. Qin's heart ached for Huamin. He carefully took Huamin's hand and carefully examined it. He was relieved when he saw that there weren't any major problems. I'm sorry, sis. I'm really sorry. The person who served the dishes was a young boy around 18 or 19 years old. He looked dirty, but his eyes were sincere. It's okay, you didn't do it on purpose. Huamin smiled. I'm going to buy some burn cream, you eat first. Then, without waiting for anyone to speak, Qin Chu got up and left. Zhu Lingling gave him a thumbs up. China's best husband. Girl, I realized that your brain doesn't even belong to a human. You immediately knew how to treat the scalded area. Sis, I'm a medical student, how can I not know this? But you reacted too quickly. I'm not trying to fool you. The guy who served the dishes didn't realize that you were scalded until you came back from washing your hands. Ha ha ha. Huamin laughed heartily again. So you couldn't help but walk over. How are you? Are your chicken feet okay? Would it kill you to not speak properly? Huamin retorted. You reacted pretty quickly. With your IQ, it wouldn't be surprising if you lived to 100 years old, Siyu exclaimed calmly. I don't want to live that long, I'll be lonely. Huamin pouted and said. You can come up with 100 reasons for everything I say. Look at your mouth and logical thinking. You're really something else, Siyu said helplessly. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ren exchanged glances, but neither of them said anything. They felt that Siyu taking advantage of Qin Chu's absence to flirt with a girl was a bit, don't think that I'm here because Qin Chu isn't here. If he's here, I'll do the same. It's fine as long as I see that you're fine. Otherwise, I'd have to worry about being bored. Let's go. I'm not eating anymore. I didn't manage to eat the pig trotters and almost ate the chicken feet. Su Yu was hinting at Huamin's injury. In the end, before the dishes they ordered were served, the few of them left, leaving behind 1,000 yuan. They were rich and overbearing. Rich people are really capricious. They can choose not to eat the good food and still pay for it. Zhu Lingling sighed with emotion. Isn't it just burning money? Who doesn't? Then why don't you burn one? Zhu Lingling teased Gao Ran. I'm not that kind of person. Don't compare me to those wastrels. Who's a wastrel? Please. Go and ask around. How much does Imperial Star make in a year? So you can burn a few million yuan a day. Imperial Star is currently a well-known and leading company in China. I heard that it's going to be listed in the US soon. So, if you call him a wastrel, it means that you're jealous of him. Me? Jealous of him? Are you kidding me? He's just a stud horse. What stud horse? I heard that Su Yu has changed a lot recently. He doesn't get close to women anymore. Gao Ran looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. Then, he pointed out something else. Anyways, if I were a woman, I wouldn't be with Su Yu. If I wanted to find someone, I'd find someone like Qin Chu, a loyal dog. If I'm a loyal dog, then what are you? A donkey? Qin Chu came back at some point. He was standing behind Gao Ran, ha ha ha. You heard him. He said that if he were a woman, he'd find someone like you, Zhu Lingling said playfully. Other than Mian, I don't want anyone else. Qin Chu sat down proudly. Then, he opened the burn ointment and carefully applied it on Huamin's wounds. Huamin ate the roasted pig trotters with one hand while Qin Chu applied ointment with the other. It was such a pleasure. Every time we eat, you always torture us, don't you? Gao Ran complained with a bone in his mouth. You can torture us too. Bullshit. How can we torture you guys? You guys are already at the pinnacle of torturing single people. No one can surpass you. Girl. Are you pregnant yet? It's been so long. Zhu Lingling suddenly thought of a very serious problem. Chapter 696. Not yet, Huamin answered honestly. You guys should hurry up and make babies. Gao Ran chimed in. Then you guys should hurry up too. We can make babies together. Maybe we'll be in-laws in the future. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were shocked beyond words. Pfft. What are you talking about? We haven't even started dating yet. Zhu Lingling immediately defended herself. If you call that not even dating after sleeping with him, then what are married people like us? Are we dating? Huamin laughed. Gosh. Don't spread rumors. Nothing happened between us last time. Gao Ran was sweating profusely. Qin Chu added, yeah, nothing happened between the two of you. You guys just ate sunflower seeds the whole night, okay? Ha ha ha. Huamin almost wanted to give her husband a thumbs up and started laughing devilishly again. Gao Ran was speechless. Zhu Lingling was speechless. Excuse me, Mr. Qin, but can we still have fun? Zhu Lingling asked with a confused expression. You guys have to admit that you're having an affair first. We can still have fun together. You have to be honest, Huamin said. Gao Ran was speechless. Zhu Lingling was speechless. It's good that you guys are married. Otherwise, no one else in the world can control either of you. That's scary, Gao Ran exclaimed. Then, they continued to eat and drink. Huamin wasn't affected by the burn. Inside the Mercedes-Benz RV, Su Yu, Wei Liao, and Tang Chuan sat in the back, listening to the sounds and drinking red wine. I'm so hungry. I should have eaten before leaving. I left 1,000 yuan behind and didn't even get to eat anything. I felt so pretentious, Tang Chuan complained. Then you can go back and eat. Lord Su's heart almost broke when he saw Huamin get burned. How could he be in the mood? Wei Liao laughed. You're still in the mood to laugh. Isn't Zhang Xiaowei getting engaged tomorrow? Why would I cry? Plus, there's nothing going on between us, Wei Liao said with a faint smile. So you didn't say anything and quietly looked out the window. When Huamin got burned, he really did stand up, but then he suddenly realized that he didn't have the right. He didn't even have the right to greet her as a friend. Huamian once said that they weren't even friends, but why did his heart still hurt so much when he saw her burn? It was so painful, it was as if he was the one who got burned. Was he poisoned too deeply? Lord Su, don't feel bad. Huamin is fine. It's just a burn. Plus, look at how fast that girl reacted. She ran like a rabbit. I only realized she was burned after she was done, haha. Wei Liao comforted him. Su Yu didn't say anything. He didn't seem to be interested in anything. They were just about to happily eat pork trotters when they bumped into Huamin. He didn't know if it was fate or disaster. Wei Liao felt more and more that Su Yu couldn't extricate himself. His feelings for Huamin were getting deeper and deeper with each passing day. But the worst part was that he was restraining himself. He didn't want to be too high profile because he didn't want to cause trouble for Huamin. That was why he had been holding it in. With his fiery temper, it was really hard for him to hide his feelings. Lord Su, you've been holding it in for too long. I think you need to vent. You don't like the women in your company. Why don't we go abroad and look for foreign girls? Also, I know a few managers from famous groups in Korea. You can pick any girl you want, they're cheaper than in China. Chapter 697. You two go ahead, I'm not interested, Suyut said quietly as he lowered his head. You go ahead, I'm not interested either. Wei Liao smiled. Then let's go to Seductive Fox for a drink. Tang Chuan suggested again. I'm going home today, you guys go ahead. Upon hearing that Su Yu was going home, the driver immediately drove him back to the Su family mansion. Ever since Su Yu became independent, he rarely returned home. Perhaps it was because he was used to being independent. When he was in the military, he basically only returned home once every 2 years. Lady Su missed her son so much that she would secretly go to the military to see him. But today, he really wanted to pick her up. For some reason, perhaps an injured child needed the comfort of a family. When Su Yu returned home, it was only 8 p.m., the Su family had just finished dinner. Lady Su was flattered when she saw her son. Son, have you eaten yet? No. Mom, I'm a bit hungry. Come sit here and eat something to fill your stomach. I'll ask Xiaoru to make you some dishes. Mom. I just want to eat your egg fried rice. Son, what's wrong? Su Yu was not a mother's boy, so he never acted like a spoiled child. When he was 7 years old, he fought with other kids and was badly injured. When he returned home, he was whipped by his father. Even then, he never acted like a spoiled child to his parents, but today, he actually said that he wanted to eat his mother's egg fried rice. Lady Su didn't cook much, so her fried rice was very ordinary. Su Yu actually missed the familiar taste. I'm fine, Mom, I'm just hungry. Okay. Wait here, Mom will make you fried rice. Madam, let me do it. The nanny was scared when she saw Madam Su enter the kitchen. It's okay, I'll do it. Lady Su rarely cooked for her son, so she didn't want to miss this opportunity. 20 minutes later. A plate of egg fried rice was placed on the coffee table. The color wasn't good, and there was even a burnt smell. It was probably overcooked, however, Su Yu didn't say anything as he picked it up and ate like crazy. He ate with relish. Son, how is it? Lady Su asked nervously. It's delicious. Thank you, Mom. The relationship between Su Yu's family members was very interesting. Lady Su was very gentle, Father Su was very strict, and Lord Su was both kind and strict. The Su family was strict, but they generally wouldn't interfere with Su Yu. The Su family would never do something like Lady Qin, who gave herself an interview and slapped her son in the face. Su Yu finished the plate of fried rice in just a few bites. Is it enough? Do you want me to make you some more? Mrs. Su looked at her son with concern. No need, I'm full. Do you want some fruit? Today, your grandfather's old subordinate came over from Guanyuan with a lot of fresh lychees. Shall I ask Xiaoru to wash some for you? I don't feel like eating. What about tea? The new De Hong Pao that your dad bought smells really good. It's premium. I don't feel like drinking it. After Su Yu finished the egg fried rice, he realized that he was still in a bad mood, inexplicably bad. No matter what his mother said, he wasn't interested at all. Son, is there something on your mind? Lady Su sat beside Su Yu with a white shawl and asked with concern. Yes. Is it about the girl you told me about last time? How did you know? Su Yu tilted his head and looked at his mother in surprise. Of course, I gave birth to you. You crawled out of my stomach, how could I not know what you're thinking? Lady Su smiled. Su Yu lowered his head and didn't say anything. That girl, she doesn't like you? Lady Su probed. Chapter 698. Yeah. That's normal. There are so many people in the world, and they all have different personalities. It's normal for them to not like you back. Lady Sue smiled. It's not that simple, can you tell Mom? Lady Sue looked at him expectantly. No, okay. She knew that this little brat wouldn't give in so easily. Mom. I'm a little tired, I'm going to sleep. Okay. Is Grandpa home? No, he's in a meeting in Jing City. Your dad's in the study. Then forget it, my dad's too old-fashioned. I'll feel even more depressed if I talk to him. I'm going to sleep now. Good night, Mom. At 9 o'clock, Siu lay in bed to rest. After returning to the mansion, he realized that it was much better than his mansion because it didn't feel as empty. He didn't know what was wrong with him today, but he was inexplicably pessimistic. It felt like a woman on her period, although he didn't know what it felt like to be on one's period. He felt so depressed that he couldn't breathe. He suddenly realized that he might never be able to get Huamin in this lifetime. Even if he could hold her hand, he might never have the chance to do so. Because Qin Chu took care of her in every possible way, and that kind of love was accumulated over time. It was a level that he couldn't reach right now, and it was beyond his reach. He lay in bed, took out his phone, unlocked it, and looked at it for a while. Then, he logged on to Weibo and clicked on Huamin's private message. He typed in 6 words, Huamin, I like you. But after writing it, he felt that it was inappropriate, so he deleted it. After deleting it, he wrote it again, and deleted it again. After struggling for more than 10 minutes, he finally deleted all of his messages and logged out. It wasn't that he was a coward and didn't dare to confess again, but he was afraid that she would distance herself from him. After logging on to WeChat, he saw that someone had posted a chicken soup for the soul. If it's just friendship, then be good friends. Don't be too greedy, because love is too extreme. It's either forever, or a stranger. Suyuk gave a rare like below the post. That guy was ecstatic and immediately replied, which place is Lord Su having fun at? Suyu didn't reply either. Then, he closed his eyes and forced himself to sleep. He did not want to think about it anymore. No matter how heavy or depressing today was, after a good night's sleep, tomorrow would be a new day. After finishing the pork trotters, they were in a good mood. Gao Ran suggested, Tycoon Qin, why don't you give us a lucky red packet? Therefore, Gao Ran, the godly scammer, immediately created a WeChat group and added the 4 of them. Qin Chu sent a red envelope. Huamin's hands were quick. He immediately clicked on it. It was only 38. Zhu Lingling was second, but she only scored 22 points. However, Gao Ran, this scammer, finally opened it unhurriedly. To his surprise, there was 140 yuan. Isn't 200 yuan a little too little? It doesn't fit your status as the president, Gao Ran said greedily. Huamin immediately looked at him with disdain. The most I can give is 200 yuan at a time. How can you be a police officer with your IQ? I wonder if your ancestors' graves are smoking. Zhu Lingling also mocked him. Gao Ran was speechless. Before he could say anything, Qin Chu sent a few more red envelopes in a row, a rain of red envelopes, each one was 200 yuan. The 3 of them had a great time fighting over the red envelopes. In the end, Huamin's fingers were tired. He said, No, I'm not playing anymore. My fingers hurt and my eyes are blurry. You're worried about your husband giving away his money, right? Gao Ran laughed. It's easy for you to say that. Give me a rain of red envelopes. Huamin estimated that Mr. Qin's rain of red envelopes was at least 6,000 yuan. Everyone was simply dazzled by this. Ha, I'm rich. I didn't eat pork trotters for nothing. I got more than 3,000 yuan, Zhu Lingling said happily as she waved her phone. Huamin was just about to say something when his phone rang. Mian, come to the seafood restaurant on Badao Street. Jixin was beaten up. Huang Yu's voice sounded like she was about to cry. Huamin's expression immediately changed when he heard this. What's wrong? Qin Chu asked when he saw that something was wrong with her. Jixin is in trouble. Huamin didn't wait for anyone to react and immediately rushed out. Qin Chu took out a few thousand yuan from his wallet and placed it on the table. Then, he followed Huamian. Chapter 699. Let's go, we'll follow them. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling followed behind Qin Chu in their car. The four of them arrived at a seafood restaurant on Badao Street. Badao Street was a messy place, but there was a seafood restaurant there that sold delicious food for commoners. Most importantly, it was cheap, therefore, a lot of people liked to eat there. Huamin and Qin Chu often went to high-end restaurants, so they wouldn't go to a small restaurant like this. However, Jixin was different. He wouldn't burn money just because his sister married into a rich family. Huang Yu wanted to eat seafood, so he brought her here. However, something happened here. Because Jixin had major head surgery, Huamin was very worried about her brother. Her hands were shaking the entire way, and she was panicking. Qin Chu held Huamin's hand as he drove. Don't be scared, he'll be fine. Honey, can we go faster? Huamin's voice was shaking as well. Qin Chu ran red lights the entire way, and finally, they arrived at Badao Street, which wasn't too far away. At the entrance of the restaurant, Jing Jixin was lying on the ground, and Huang Yu was beside him, sobbing. There were a lot of onlookers. Huamin got out of the car and rushed over, pushing the crowd aside. Jixin. She felt like her heart was in her throat, about to jump out of her chest. Sis. I'm fine. Jing Jixin's eyebrows were bleeding, and the corner of his mouth was bruised. Let's go to the hospital first. Sis, I'm really fine, it's just some superficial wounds. We don't need to go to the hospital. Mian, I tried to persuade him for a long time, but he wouldn't let me go. Huang Yu kept crying. I said we're going to the hospital, you have to listen to me. Huamin roared at Jing Jixin for the first time. She couldn't bear to scold her beloved little brother, however, this time, she actually yelled at him in front of so many people. Even Qin Chu and Gao Ran, who were behind him, were a little scared. My girl is mad. Zhu Lingling had known Huamin for so many years, but she had rarely seen her lose control of her emotions like this. Seeing that his sister was angry, Jing Jixin didn't dare to say anything else. Qin Chu and Gao Ran stepped forward and helped him into the car. Then, the group went to the first hospital, outside the emergency room. How is it? Huamin, don't worry. Your brother is fine. It's just some superficial wounds. Is your head okay? We took a CT scan. Everything is normal. The doctors at the first hospital were very familiar with Huamin and comforted her. Thank goodness, thank goodness. Huamin was scared out of his wits. If something happened to Jixin, she didn't know how to explain it to her mother. Upon hearing that Jixin was fine, Huamin felt his entire body go limp. He finally let out a sigh of relief. Qin Chu was just about to comfort him when he heard someone yell, "Young master, why are you here?" It turned out that one of the Qin family's maids went out to buy supper for Lady Qin. When she came back, she happened to see Qin Chu upstairs. Yeah. Qin Chu nodded. Young master, are you here to see your mother? Come with me, she misses you a lot. The maid had no idea that Qin Chu was here to see his mother. Qin Chu was just about to refuse when Huamin said, "You go first, I'll wait for you here." Okay, wait for me. I'll be down soon. Qin Chu also thought that since he was already here, he might as well go take a look. After all, his dad personally called him. Hearing that his mother was really sick, he wanted to go take a look, but that didn't mean that he would forgive her. Chin Chu was determined to fight a long battle with his mother. As long as she didn't accept Huamin, he wouldn't forgive her. Hearing that Jing Jixin was fine, Huamin was finally no longer worried. She raised her head and looked at Huang Yu. She looked exhausted. Tell me, what happened between you two at Badao Street? Chapter 700. Mian, it's all my fault. I wanted to eat seafood and Jixin said it was cheap there. The crabs are fresh too, but we didn't expect to run into Huasi and the others there. Huasi. Huamin frowned slightly. That's right. Huasi and a few other men were driving by and saw us picking seafood at the entrance. They got out of the car to pick on us and make fun of us. Huasi even flirted with me. I think he was drunk. Anyway, Jixin was very angry and started fighting with them. After a round of punches and kicks, they left in a black Ferrari. The license plate was, I got it. Huamin interrupted her and got up. Take good care of Jixin. When he comes out, tell him to go back to school. What about you? Huang Yu felt a little uneasy. I'm fine, I'm going out for some fresh air. When Huamin came out, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling immediately surrounded him. Is your brother okay? Yeah, it's just some scratches. You guys should go back, it's pretty late. Where's Chin Chu? Gao Ran was confused. His mother is also hospitalized here. He's upstairs, we'll be leaving soon. Okay, we'll meet another day. Seeing that everything was fine, Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling left as well. After watching them leave, Huamin quickly went downstairs and hailed a cab. Where are you going? Around all the nightclubs, I'm looking for a Ferrari with the license plate number CE2110. Huamin didn't need Huang Yu to tell him the license plate number because she had seen him drive it a couple of times. At the first hospital VIP room, I thought you didn't want to come. Lady Qin was happy to see her son, but she pretended to be angry. Are you okay? It's best if he's dead, then no one will cause trouble for you guys, Lady Qin said angrily. Why don't you go to the US with my dad to recuperate? I'm not going, I'm not leaving. Don't even think about chasing us away and then having fun with that little vixen. Son, she's tricking you. One day, she'll make our family lose everything, you know. I've already looked for a fortune teller. He said that the two of you aren't compatible at all. Your 8 characters are against each other, and there will be many disasters. Son, you can't be so stubborn. You must be tired. Go to bed early. Chin Chu looked helpless. Seeing that his mother was still like this, he couldn't be bothered to say anything more. Young master, you're leaving now. Take good care of her. With that, Chin Chu turned and left. When she went downstairs, she didn't see Huamin in the hallway. Only Jing Jixin sat there with his head bandaged. Beside him was Huang Yu. Where's Mian? My sister. I don't know, you said she went downstairs to see Gao Ran and the others off. Jing Jixin looked confused. Chin Chu immediately took out his phone and dialed Gao Ran's number. We're all leaving. Huamin. She said she was leaving with you after she saw me off. Chin Chu hung up and immediately called Huamin. Sorry, the subscriber you have dialed is unavailable. Oh no. Chin Chu felt uneasy. He had a feeling that something was about to happen. Brother-in-law, what's wrong? Where's my sister? Jing Jixin asked. She may have gone to avenge you, Chin Chu said and immediately rushed downstairs. What? Avenge? Jing Jixin and Huang Yu were both dumbfounded. Huamin didn't like Huasi for a long time, however, he didn't want to talk to him. After all, he couldn't stoop to the level of a mad dog. Huasi was just supporting him in the Huo Corporation's board of directors. But now, he was bullying Jixin. Jixin was Huamin's little brother, and no one could touch him. Outside Tianyu nightclub. Sir, stop here. Huamin immediately saw the flashy Ferrari. She elegantly got out of the car, took out a hair tie from her pocket, and tied her hair up. Then, she walked step by step towards Tianyu. Chapter 701. Sky Nightclub was the second biggest nightclub after Seductive Fox. However, unlike Seductive Fox, the management was a mess. People often got drunk and caused trouble. It had become a gray area for police officers. Huamin didn't want Qin Chu to come with her because there were too many people here. If someone saw them, it would affect Qin Chu's reputation. However, she was different because Hua Zhenghai just acknowledged her status a few days ago. She was part of the Huo family. Even if she had a dispute with Huasi, it was still an internal matter. After what happened with Zhou Guangming at Seductive Fox, Huamin was no longer impulsive. Even at this moment, she was furious and wanted to tear that scumbag Huasi apart. However, she still wanted to follow the plan. Miss, please wait. A waiter stopped her at the door to the top floor. I'm Huasi's sister. I'm here to talk to him. Oh, you're here for young Master Hua. He's in room E10. The waiter saw that Huamin was alone. Therefore, he let his guard down. Huamin smiled and nodded. Then, she walked towards room E10. When she reached the door, she didn't go in. Instead, she looked around. She realized that there was an air vent not far from here. Above it was the rooftop. Huamin walked to a dark corner in the hallway. Then, she took out a lighter and played with it. She knew Huasi too well. Therefore, she believed that she only needed to wait for him to come out. Sure enough, 3 minutes later, Huasi walked out drunk with a hot girl. The two of them kissed all the way down the hallway. Then, they walked to a dark corner in the hallway. Neither of them noticed Huamin's presence. Therefore, when Huasi's hand reached towards the hot girl's butt, Huamin suddenly spoke up. Huasi-chen, why are you so slow? Aren't you afraid that Huasi-chen will kill you sooner or later? Who is it? Huasi turned around drunkenly. The hot girl was also scared out of her wits. Why is there someone here? It's you. Huamin said in disdain after he saw who it was. Obviously, he wasn't so drunk that he didn't know anything. Do you dare to come up here and have a chat with me? Of course, if you're scared, you can ask your hot girlfriend to go back and find your companions to give you courage. Huamin knew Huasi's temper too well, so he only used a little provocation. You? You think I'm afraid of you? What a joke. Even if there were 10 of you, I wouldn't be afraid of you. After Huasi finished speaking, he staggered towards Huamin. Huashao. The hot girl called out quietly. You can go back first. Don't talk nonsense. For the sake of his dignity, he did not allow women to talk nonsense. The woman looked at Huamin but didn't recognize her. She thought she was one of Huamin's ex-girlfriends who was looking for trouble. Therefore, he turned around and left with his tail between his legs. Huamin smiled complacently. He turned around and walked through the door of the corridor, going up to the rooftop of the Tianyu Tower. There were a total of 10 floors in the Heaven Realm. This was the 10th floor. Although it wasn't high, it was still quite scary to look down at this late hour. Huasi-chen staggered up to the rooftop with Huamin. The cold wind sobered him up quite a bit. What? Are you here to get revenge for your brother? Huasi asked provocatively. Huamin's back was facing him, and he only said one word, yes. Ha! Look at your status. Do you think you can touch me? Do you really think you're a big shot now that you're back in the Huo family? Let me tell you, Dad said that you'll always be a dog that we use. A dog, understand? Chapter 702. Hua-min still didn't say anything. Her back was facing him, so he couldn't see her expression. Your brother is a good-for-nothing. He's so young, but he's already learned how to pick up girls. Does he even have what it takes? The money you gave him isn't even enough to cover my daily expenses. How can you call that crappy car of his a sports car? What a joke. But the girl he's with isn't bad. She looks like a sweet, innocent girl. I wonder if he's already a virgin. I'll try her out first and help your idiot brother try her. Hua-si didn't even get to finish his sentence. He felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. Hua-min was too fast. He didn't even know when she turned around or when she came over. Hua-si knelt on the ground with one hand on his stomach and the other on the ground. He said angrily, "You bitch. How dare you hit me? I'm going to tear you apart today." Hua-si had learned taekwondo before. Although he wasn't very good at it, his moves weren't bad. Even if he was drunk, Hua-min, a woman, was no match for him. Of course, Hua-min came prepared. Before Hua-si could stand up, a needle appeared in her hand. The needle was soaked in anesthetic, and she stabbed it into Hua-si's neck. His movements immediately slowed down. His fingers also began to lose control. "You. What did you do to me?" Hua-si struggled to speak. Hua-min didn't say anything. She walked up to him and slapped him across the face. "I'm a very fair person. I'll hit you the same way you hit Jishin." Then, Hua-min took out a small towel she prepared and stuffed it into Hua-si's mouth. Then, Hua-min's fists rained down on Hua-si's face. Even though Hua-min didn't have much strength, she still used all of her strength. Therefore, it didn't take long for Hua-si's face to become swollen. Unfortunately, his mouth was sealed and he couldn't make a sound. Otherwise, how could he call for help? Hua-si was hit so hard that he saw stars and felt dizzy. Hua-min was also tired. Seeing that it was about time, she pulled Hua-si's tie over. With a few steps, he arrived at the edge of the rooftop. Then, she removed the towel from his mouth. "Hua-min, fuck your ancestors." Before Hua-si could finish, Hua-min interrupted him. He couldn't curse anymore because Hua-min suddenly pressed his head down towards the rooftop. This position was simply too dangerous. As long as Hua-min gave him a gentle push, he would fall off the building. The 10th floor wasn't too high, but falling down would definitely result in a pool of blood. Hua-si was scared out of his wits. "Ah! Save me! Save me! If you keep shouting, believe it or not, I will push you down in the next second. This is murder, do you know that?" Hua-si was about to lose his mind. "No, this is murder out of passion. GK's legal team will defend me. You, on the other hand, are different. If you die, your mother will cry her eyes out, your sister will lose her beloved little brother, and your father's hair will turn white overnight. Without you, Hua-si-chin will be in control of the Hua Corporation. Haha. It's perfect. Hua-min, you're fucking crazy. I'm your little brother too." Hua-si tried to play the family card, but it didn't work on Hua-min. "No, I don't have a brother as noble as you. You've been surrounded by stars ever since you were born. You squander money like it doesn't matter, and you're so arrogant. Growing up, you treat everyone like dirt. Jing Jishin is my little brother. He didn't do anything to you, but you had the audacity to beat him up on the streets. Tell me, how can I, his loving sister, vent my anger?" Chapter 703. Then, Hua-min tightened his grip, causing Hua-si's body to slowly fall forward. "Ah, no, I don't want to die. Hua-min, I beg you, don't kill me. Huamian's temper was gone at that moment. Wasi was so scared that he peed his pants. He was used to mocking Huamian and thought that the siblings were too honest. Therefore, every time they met, he would fight with them. The truth was, Huamian just didn't want to talk to him and thought that he was an idiot. However, the incident with Jixin completely ignited his anger. Today, she pulled Wasi's tie and staged a horror show on the rooftop. Whatever matter of life and death, all of it had been thrown out of the window. Wasi always thought that Huamian was scary. When she was scary, she was like a crazy person. Huamian, I'm begging you. I won't bully Jing Jixin anymore. Please don't kill me, I really won't do it again. Please give me a chance, for the sake of our father. Wasi was incoherent. His words were as spineless as they could get. Did Huamian really want to kill him? No. She only wanted to scare him. She had already avenged Jixin and achieved her goal. I see, then when you go back, if someone asks about your face. Huamian deliberately stopped talking. I'll say that I got drunk. Oh, then if you see Jixin, I'll take a detour, I won't cause trouble for him. Oh, that sounds good. Huamian, I swear, I'll do what I say, or else my whole family will die, Wasi swore. It seemed like he was really scared by Huamian. If what happened today gets out, don't worry, Huamian, will kill you even if I have to give up my life. The scariest thing about you isn't his background or money, it's his suicidal spirit. After speaking, Huamian suddenly pulled him back from the edge of the rooftop. Then, he fell to the ground. At that moment, Wasi felt like he had come back from the brink of death. He was so scared that his legs went numb. Huamian pulled out the thin needle from Huamian's neck. Then, she said, don't ever touch Jing Jixin, he's my bottom line. After saying that, she went downstairs without saying a word. Wasi sat there for half an hour until the anesthetic wore off. Then, he walked downstairs, trembling. He didn't even go back to his room, he left heaven. When Huamian's tea, he saw Qin's cars. Qin's is also just as he was about to enter heaven, he saw Huamian walk out. He opened the door and got out. Then, he immediately walked up and hugged Huamian. It felt like he had regained something he had lost. Good. I'm glad you came out. I'm fine, I was just angry, so I taught Wasi a lesson. Huamian smiled slightly. Qin Chu looked down and saw Huamian's fists. They were all red and swollen. His heart immediately ached. Let's go home and talk. He hugged her and turned around to get into the car. After Qin Chu got home, he called Jixin to tell him that he was safe. Then, he took out the first aid kit and cleaned Huamian's wounds. Huamian's fair hands were covered in wounds. Qin Chu didn't need to guess to know that Huamian had a way to beat Wasi up. However, he used too much strength when he hit Wasi, so the wounds on his hands were still shocking. How much strength did you use? Can't you find some tools? Qin Chu felt like his heart was about to break as he applied medicine on Huamian's wounds. It's better to do it myself. Huamian stuck out her tongue. You really do love Jixin. Qin Chu was actually a little jealous. Although he knew that his brother-in-law was only a child, Huamian was almost willing to risk his life for him. Qin Chu didn't ask about what happened at heaven. All he wanted was for Huamian to come back safely. Otherwise, he would really do something crazy like bathing heaven in blood. Qin Chu carefully wrapped the last layer of gauze around Huamian's arm. Then, he carried her upstairs. My hands aren't good today, so I won't take a shower, honey. Huamian slowly said when she saw that Qin Chu was about to carry her into the bathroom. I'll help you. These 4 words were like a sudden clap of thunder. Although they had been married for so long and had seen each other naked, was it really okay for her husband to help her take a shower? While Huamian's imagination was running wild, Qin Chu had already started taking off her clothes. Chapter 704. Huamin lifted her bandaged pig trotters and shyly covered her face. Qin Chu smiled. After taking off her clothes, he carefully placed her in the warm bathtub. He picked up the shower gel and began to wipe her clean. There wasn't a hint of lust in his actions, it was the love of a husband for his wife. Qin Chu patiently bathed Huamin as if he was taking care of a child. However, Huamin's heart began to subtly change. When Qin Chu's fingers brushed across her skin, she felt as if there were a lot of little bugs jumping around in the depths of her heart. The more she thought about it, the redder her face became. "Honey, what are you thinking about?" Qin Chu calmly asked as he wiped her white body. "Nothing." Huamin refused to admit it. "Then why are you blushing?" "Maybe it's because it's too hot. It's so stuffy." Huamin found an excuse. "No way. The temperature here is set to 20 degrees, even I feel a bit cold." "Are you sure you're still hot?" Qin Chu couldn't help but laugh. "What do you know? Men and women have different body structures. Men's blood circulates slowly, so they can't feel hot or cold clearly. Women, on the other hand, have a fast metabolism, so we age faster than men." Huamian took out her professional knowledge and explained everything clearly and logically. Qin Chu couldn't help but laugh. "What are you laughing at?" Huamin looked at Qin Chu in confusion. "Honey, do you think I've never studied medicine? How dare you talk to me about professional knowledge?" Huamin suddenly realized why he had to use this to trick her. Mr. Qin was the most famous doctor in the world. How could she not know? People say that a husband who always undermines his wife isn't a good husband. So? Qin Chu continued to ask. So, in order to be a good husband, you don't have to say things so clearly. Just play dumb. Okay, honey, you win. You win because you're shameless. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. She reached out her hand and wanted to hit Qin Chu's head. However, as soon as she reached out her hand, the pain made her retract her hand. "Ah, it hurts. Didn't I tell you not to move? Honey, do you have something to do later?" "No, then can we?" Huamian lowered her head shyly after she finished speaking. She really couldn't bring herself to say it. "What?" "Ah, nothing. I mean, can we watch some TV before we go to bed?" "No, your hand is injured. You need to go to bed early today." Qin Chu refused. "Okay." 40 minutes later, Qin Chu carried Huamin out of the bathtub and wrapped her in a thick towel. Qin Chu took out a white silk nightgown from the closet and carefully put it on Huamin. Then, Qin Chu went to take a shower. When he came back, he hugged Huamin in bed. "You're still not sleeping." Qin Chu heard Huamin's uneven breathing. "Yeah. I'm probably too bored." Huamin's mind was full of messy thoughts, so she wasn't in the mood to sleep. Husband and wife life. It was better for the man to bring it up, but her husband was too calm tonight. Huamin was conflicted. How should she bring it up? Would it be too impolite to say it directly? "Honey, do you want it?" Qin Chu saw her conflicted expression and asked directly. "Ahem. No. I'm giving you one last chance. If you don't tell me the truth, then I'm going to sleep." Qin Chu teased her on purpose. Huamin hesitated for a few seconds upon hearing how serious her husband was. She bit her lip and said, "Honey, I lied. I want it. Go to sleep, honey, it's late." "Qin Chu, you bastard." Huamin was furious that he lied to her. Qin Chu couldn't help but laugh. Then, he rolled over and pressed himself on top of her. Chapter 705. Originally, I didn't want to torture you because your hand was injured, but honey, you're the one who initiated it. Then, before Huamin could say anything, he kissed her passionately. Qin Chu's movements were sometimes gentle and sometimes domineering. At that moment, Huamin didn't want to think about anything else, she just wanted to enjoy the beauty of their relationship. The next morning, Huamin lazily got out of bed. Qin Chu wasn't home anymore. She received a message from him on WeChat, "Honey, I'm going to the company. It's the weekend, you should rest at home." Qin Chu had been busy with GK's 30-year anniversary. Huamin's hand was injured, so she couldn't help much even if she went to the hospital. Plus, it was the weekend, so she had the day off. However, she didn't have the time to relax because today was an important day. Jiang Shaowei's engagement. At this thought, Huamin immediately got out of bed. She couldn't waste a second. After she washed up, she picked out a pair of light blue suspenders from her closet. She wore white sneakers and a white long-sleeved t-shirt. It was a very youthful look. However, she knew that even though it was a simple outfit, the fact that Qin Chu hung it in her closet meant that the price was ridiculous. Huamin wasn't into luxury goods, so she probably felt the same way no matter what she wore. Jiang Shaowei's engagement party was going to be very grand, but she definitely couldn't steal the limelight. The more low-key, the better. After she dressed up, Huamin put her hair in a bun and went downstairs with a white Dior bag. "A young lady, it's time for breakfast." "I'm not eating, I'm going to my friend's engagement party." Huamin was in a good mood. But Mr. Qin said, "A young lady has to eat less, or else her stomach won't be able to handle it." Uncle Li was in a difficult position. It seemed like Qin Chu had already told her. Huamin thought for a moment, then took a piece of toast from the table and ate it in 3 bites. Then, she drank half a glass of milk. "Is that all?" "Thank you, Uncle Li." Huamin waved his hand and left South Hill Manor happily. Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Although Jiang Shaowei and Du Jianan were not super rich, their influence was not low. Because Du Jianan was in the environmental protection industry, he had a good relationship with the political world. In addition, he was Gao Rant's cousin, so many people from the municipal bureau came. Jiang Shaowei's parents were both professors and were highly respected in the city. Therefore, when Huamin arrived, it took him a long time to find a parking space. Then she got out of the car and walked in. Jiang Shaowei was wearing a white strapless wedding dress. Her hair was tied up and she had exquisite makeup on her face. She was beautiful, but unfortunately, there was no smile on her face the whole time. However, when she saw Huamin, she revealed her canine teeth. She stepped forward and intimately held Huamin's arm. "What took you so long?" "I overslept. Looks like we didn't do anything good last night. You're so dirty." Huamin was speechless at Jiang Shaowei's words. She was an unmarried girl, but her words were shocking. "It looks like President Qin has great stamina. Work hard and give birth to a baby soon. Then, I can be his godmother." Can't you think of something new?" Huamin looked at her with disdain. "Then I'll marry you." "Okay, you win." Jiang Shaowei was in a great mood when Huamin arrived. She dragged her to her parents and introduced her to them. It seemed like she valued Huamin as a friend. Some people said that Jiang Shaowei was friends with Huamin because she was a young lady from GK. However, Huamin was the only one who knew the truth. Jiang Shaowei was always arrogant and liked to show off. She was much more domineering than Huamin. She didn't lack friends in the rich circle. The reason why she chose Huamin as her friend was because she admired him. Especially when it came to treating an Yang, Huamin's inhumane way of doing things impressed her. Just as they were happily chatting, Huamin suddenly saw a familiar figure appear at the door. "Shaowei, look who's here." Huamin lowered his voice and said. Jiang Shaowei looked up and saw Wei Liao, who was dressed very formally today in a white suit. Behind him was Su Yu, who was wearing a dark blue casual jacket. Chapter 706. Why is he here? Jiang Shaowei was a little surprised. How would I know? Didn't you tell him? Huamin vaguely remembered that Wei Liao asked him about it yesterday. It seemed like he didn't come with good intentions. Was he really not here to steal the bride? How could I be that bored? As soon as Jiang Shaowei finished speaking, she saw Wei Liao and Suyu walking towards her. You look beautiful today, Wei Liao said with a smile. Thank you, Jiang Shaowei replied politely. He was completely different from his usual comical style. Suyu's mind was only on Huamin. He didn't want to come to Jiang Shaowei's engagement party, and he wasn't familiar with Du Jinan either. However, Wei Liao insisted on coming. Tang Chuan went on a vacation overseas with a female confidant. Suyu was the only one left at home, but Suyu was adamant about not coming. In the end, Wei Liao made a big move and only said that Huamin would come as well. Then, he silently agreed. Seeing Huamin dressed in such an age-appropriate outfit, Suyu thought that he looked cute. However, he never meant what he said, so he said with a straight face, "Do you think you're cherry meatball? How old are you to dress up like this? Do you have a complex? Suyu, are you the Pacific Police? Why are you so nosy? Is Imperial Star very free these days?" Huamin retorted. Jiang Shaowei chuckled on the side. The two of them were a pair of quarrelsome lovers, bickering whenever they saw each other, without exception. Everyone, take a seat. I'll go greet the other guests. Mian, help me greet Lord Su and young Master Wei. After speaking, Jiang Shaowei smiled apologetically and left. Huamin felt awkward at first, but when he saw that there were so many people around, he didn't have to be so pretentious. Therefore, he found a place and sat down with Suyu and the others. The seating order was, Suyu, Wei Liao, Huamin. After Suyu cleared his throat, Wei Liao immediately stood up. I'll go to the bathroom first, ha. How could he dare to sit between Lord Su and Huamin? Wasn't that courting death? What happened to your hand? Suyu lowered his head and saw that Huamin had removed the bandage. However, a layer of blood still formed. Oh, I got into a fight with someone last night and broke my hand. Fight? You? Suyu looked at her as if she was an alien. Wasn't he still fine when he ate the pig trotters last night? How did he get into a fight with someone? However, when he thought about it, he suddenly asked happily, who did you fight with? Was it Qin Chu? Even the people on Earth could tell that he was gloating. Huamin, it's good for you to talk less. You'll easily expose your intelligence, Huamin said faintly. It wasn't Qin Chu. Then who? Who would dare to touch you? Suyu was very curious. Don't ask about everything. It's not good for you to know too much. Huamin didn't say anything. Then, she picked up a bottle of blueberry juice on the table and was about to drink it when Suyu snatched it away. Girls can't drink juice that's too sweet. It'll make you fat. Drink mineral water. Then, Suyu pushed the bottle of Evian mineral water in front of Huamin. Shaowei. I want to sit at another table. Huamin couldn't take it anymore. He stood up and waved his hand. Jiang Shaowei walked over with a smile. Huh, what's wrong? You don't like Lord Su? If you don't, you can try sitting here. You damned girl, how dare you dislike me? Do you know how many women want to sit at the same table as me? Suyu was irritated, because Huamin actually disliked her. That doesn't include me, okay? Also, you're in the terminal stage of narcissism. Remember to bring your medicine when you go out next time. Suyu, what are you so happy about? Wei Liao came back from the bathroom and joined the conversation with a smile. Jiang Shaowei glanced at Wei Liao with a complicated expression. Before she could say anything, one of Jiang Shaowei's assistants walked over and whispered something in her ear. Then, Jiang Shaowei's expression changed slightly. What's wrong? Huamin realized that something was wrong, so he looked up and asked. My fiancé, probably, ran away from the wedding. Ran away from the wedding. Not only Huamin, but Wei Liao and Su Yu were also stunned. Chapter 707. Yeah. Jiang Shaowei smiled faintly. What are you going to do with all these people? What are you going to do? Wei Liao looked at Jiang Shaowei sympathetically. Let's do something about it. After speaking, Jiang Shaowei turned around and left. Wei Liao sat down beside Su Yu, and the three of them didn't speak. Does anyone know what's going on? Huamin looked at the two of them. I know that Du Jianan has been flirting with his secretary, but the Du family looks down on her. Yet another story of breaking up an affectionate couple. What a tragedy. Huamin sympathized with this kind of love that was hindered because of their family background, just like how he and Qin Chu were back then. Does Shaowei know about this? She knows, I told her, but she didn't seem to care. She said that marriage is a tool for mutual benefit. If Du Jianan didn't come today, Shaowei would be embarrassed. If he didn't want to get engaged, he should have said so earlier. What a scumbag. After speaking, Huamin couldn't help but stand up. What are you doing now? Su Yu looked at her. I'm going to ask Gao Ran. She thought that Gao Ran would definitely come to this event. However, after looking around, she didn't see him. She picked up her phone and called Gao Ran. Hello, Huamin. Where are you? I'm on a mission. You didn't come to your cousin's engagement party. Huamin was a little surprised. No, why? Your cousin seems to have run away. I heard that he doesn't know what to do here. He's always had that secretary in his heart. Even if he's with Jiang Shaowei, he won't be happy. Gao Ran seemed to know a lot. If that's the case, why didn't you make it clear before? Now that we've left this mess behind, what's a girl like Shaowei going to do? Huamin's tone was full of resentment. My cousin might be pressured by my aunt and the others. Forget it, this is not something we can interfere with. I still have a mission to carry out. Talk to you later. After hanging up the phone, Huamin felt even more depressed. She walked over and held Jiang Shaowei's hand. Shaowei, tell your parents to cancel it. Du Jianan probably won't be coming. Jiang Shaowei nodded and replied, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I know what to do. Su Yu and Wei Liao sat side by side. Su Yu looked at him and smiled. Shouldn't you be happy that the engagement didn't work out? Why should I be happy? I won't expose you. Anyway, you can be happy. Su Yu knew how Wei Liao felt about Jiang Shaowei. Now that her engagement didn't work out, Wei Liao was indeed quite relieved, but his heart ached. Wasn't running away from marriage something that the woman usually did? This time, the man ran away from the marriage. Jiang Shaowei was such a strong-minded person. Her self-esteem would probably be severely damaged, right? Who knew how sad she would be when the time came? The engagement party started at 10:38 a.m. It was already 10:37 a.m. Du Jianan had no intention of coming. Du Jianan's parents were so anxious that they couldn't call him. They called the company, but President Du wasn't there. A living person just disappeared into thin air. The Du family was humiliated, and the Jiang family was even more humiliated. The Jiang family's parents were indifferent to fame and fortune. They only cared about their family's reputation. Now that something like this happened, the Jiang family's parents were both anxious and angry. Their hearts ached for their daughter the most. Shaowei, you should go first. Your dad and I will go up and announce that your engagement party is cancelled. We'll deal with it if anything happens, Jiang Shaowei's mother said. It's okay, Mom. I'll deal with it myself. After speaking, Jiang Xiaowei walked up to the center of the stage with a microphone in her hand. In front of more than 300 guests, she slowly said, "Dear guests, thank you for coming to our engagement party. Unfortunately, Mr. Du Jianan thought through some things before the party and felt that we weren't suitable for each other. So, we've decided not to get engaged." After she finished speaking, everyone began to talk about it. It's been hard on her. Huamin looked at Jiang Xiaowei with heartache. Then, she continued, "But today is a good day. Since I'm here, I don't plan on going back empty-handed. I also don't want to waste all the food I prepared. So, I have a bold idea. Are there any single men in the audience who want to get engaged to me? If you dare to go up on stage, I'll dare to hold your hand. If you dare to promise me that you'll spend the rest of your life with me, I'll never leave you." After Jiang Xiaowei finished speaking, everyone went into an uproar. Was she publicly choosing an engagement partner? That was crazy. This woman is crazy. Su Yu took a sip of his blueberry juice and said in all seriousness. Chapter 708. Su Yu wasn't the only one who had this thought, everyone else had the same thought. Huamin, on the other hand, found it interesting. Jiang Xiaowei was just like her. Sometimes, she did things in a strange way and didn't play by the rules. However, it was precisely because of this that life was full of surprises. "What is our daughter doing?" The two elders of the Jiang family were speechless. The two elders of the Du family were also embarrassed. Their future daughter-in-law was going on stage to choose a fiancé, and she was going to get engaged on the spot. Was this really a good idea? The people below the stage began to discuss. Although there were a lot of single men, and Jiang Xiaowei was quite well-to-do, no one dared to rush over. For one, they didn't want to be the center of attention, and for two, they didn't think it was reliable. If they offended the Du family because of this, "Hurry up and pull your daughter off stage, it's too embarrassing," Mrs. Du said. "What's so embarrassing about it? Is it as embarrassing as your son? He ran off with that secretary. Don't think that we're stupid and don't know anything. I thought it would be fine to just play around before the wedding. I didn't think that my daughter would have to bear such a huge responsibility alone. If you guys are so shameless, why should we? I support my daughter. If she really finds someone better than your son, I'll be more than happy." Mrs. Zhang's words made the two elders of the Du family feel very embarrassed. About 3 minutes passed, but still, no one went on stage. Jiang Xiaowei stood on stage with the microphone, feeling a little awkward. Huamin looked at Su Yu and Wei Liao. "You guys really don't want to go on stage? Why me? I don't like her." Su Yu continued to calmly drink his blueberry juice. Wei Liao seemed to be in a dilemma. Ever since he was a kid, he had always been calculative and had never been so reckless. Although Jiang Xiaowei was really good, but he still had too many concerns. Huamin said faintly, "All the meetings in the world are unexpected, and all the departures are planned for a long time. I know you're a person who's good at planning, but love can't be planned, because you don't know when it will suddenly come and leave. It's because of these unknown factors that life is full of surprises. I don't know if I'm right, but you should be interested in Xiaowei, and Xiaowei doesn't seem to have no feelings for you either. If that's the case, why don't you give it a try? You can save her today, but she might save you in the future." This was an era of peace. Naturally, there was no such thing as chaos. The troubled times that Huamin spoke of were merely Wei Liao's ups and downs in the sea of love over the years. He had never met a true person. Perhaps Xiaowei was his terminator. Even Su Yu was touched by Huamin's words. Then, he nudged Wei Liao and said, "Hurry up and go. It's now or never." Wei Liao gritted his teeth, stood up, straightened his suit, and walked up to the stage. His white suit today really matched Jiang Xiaowei's gown quite well. Was this God's will? After Wei Liao went up on stage, Siyu looked at Huamin and said, "You talk so much about other people, but why are you so dumb when it's yourself?" "How am I dumb?" Huamin stared at Siyu. Siyu was silent for a few seconds. In the end, he didn't say what he was thinking. Instead, he changed the topic and said, "Is it really okay for us to encourage young Master Wei like this?" "We're not encouraging him. They both want to do it, okay?" Huamin was almost certain that with Jiang Shaowei's IQ, she wouldn't publicly choose a stranger. The only reason she did this was because she wanted Wei Liao to go up on stage. Although things were progressing a little fast, in this day and age, there was nothing that couldn't happen. The moment Wei Liao went up on stage, Jiang Shaowei felt her heart finally settle down. He didn't disappoint her. When the audience saw Wei Liao go up on stage, they went crazy. "Isn't that the second son of Qingnan's Wei family? He's quite handsome in person." "Yeah, he's going up on stage to get engaged to Jiang Shaowei. How come the Wei family doesn't even know?" The audience went crazy again. Wei Liao walked up to Jiang Shaowei and held her hands in front of everyone. Chapter 709. For the rest of my life, please take good care of me. Wei Liao only said 6 words, but the entire room went into an uproar. Jiang Shaowei had always been arrogant and short-tempered, but today, because of Wei Liao's words, she began to cry. Unlike other men, he didn't promise her flowery words or empty promises of being together forever. He simply said, "For the rest of my life, please take good care of me," but it contained far too much. "Trust me, I won't let you down," Jiang Shaowei said with tears in her eyes. The entire room erupted into thunderous applause. Huamin clapped his hands as hard as he could, but he ended up hurting his wound. "Ouch, it hurts." "Be gentle, they're getting engaged. Why are you so excited?" Siyu was helpless. Seeing Huamin in pain, his heart ached as well, but his mouth was still as sharp as ever. "I'm happy. I know a few couples who are developing relationships, but none of them are like them. The truth is, love doesn't come when you're ready. Sometimes, it leaves when you're ready. I hope that Wei Liao and Shaowei can have a good future." Huamin looked at the 2 people on the stage who were gazing at each other with deep affection, and his heart was moved. Siyu looked at Huamin's side profile and felt his heart ache. "You're so good, but you don't belong to me." This was what he wanted to say to Huamin. What was originally an engagement banquet because Huamian ran away, but because Wei Liao went on stage, it became a beautiful marriage. Other than the Du family and friends, everyone else attended the banquet. Huamin had a great appetite and ate 2 bowls of rice, thinking that today's dishes were exceptionally delicious. No one dared to sit at Siyu and Huamin's table. The only person who sat at the table was Wei Liao, who went on stage as the male lead. The others did not dare to sit because they did not dare to offend Siyu. Thus, only the 2 of them ate the 18 dishes. It was very extravagant. Siyu handed a tissue to Huamin. "Wipe your mouth. Don't you care about your image at all? Eat when you're hungry and sleep when you're sleepy." "It's so simple," Huamin retorted. Siyu didn't have much of an appetite, but when he saw Huamin eating so happily, his appetite was aroused. He picked up the bowl of rice and ate slowly. When he saw Huamin pick up a dish, he followed suit and actually found it surprisingly delicious. "Son, you're here too." Siyu heard her voice and turned around abruptly. He was a little surprised. "Mom, why are you here too?" "Madame Jiang and I are good friends. There were too many people, so I saw you." Lady Su smiled gently. "This is..." Lady Su saw her son sitting with a girl from afar. Her son looked at the girl with a doting gaze. She had never seen such an expression in the past 20 years or so. "Ah, this is my friend, Huamin," Siyu awkwardly introduced as he rubbed his nose. Hello, Auntie. Huamin smiled. Hello. Then, Lady Su turned around and sat between Huamin and Su Yu. Miss, how old are you this year? 24. What do you do for a living? Nurse. What kind of people do you have in your family? Mom, what are you doing? Are you doing a background check? Su Yu couldn't stay calm. He pulled his mother and gave her a look. Lady Su rarely paid attention to the news, so she didn't know that Huamin and Qin Chu went public a while ago. She only thought that Huamin was a little girl who just graduated. Auntie, Su Yu and I are just normal friends, very normal friends. Huamin was afraid that Lady Su would misunderstand, so he immediately explained. I understand. Lady Su continued to smile gently. Mom, you should go home. Call me if you need anything. Su Yu didn't want his mother to ask, so he directly sent his mother away. Before Lady Su left, she didn't forget to pat Huamin's shoulder. Miss, I'll treat you to dinner when you're free. Thank you, Auntie. Huamin looked at the unbelievably gentle Lady Su and didn't know what to do. After sending his mother away, Su Yu let out a sigh of relief. My mom, she's just like that, don't take it to heart. Okay. Huamin nodded. At this time, Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei came over to propose a toast. Hey, newlyweds, are you going to consummate your marriage tonight? Su Yu looked at Wei Liao and smiled shamelessly. Chapter 7:10. Su Yu was just joking, but Jiang Xiaowei blushed. Don't make fun of us. Wei Liao chuckled as he looked at Su Yu and Huamin. Come on, let's have a toast, to your fate. Su Yu stood up and raised his glass. Huamin stood up as well. I'm very happy today, thank you for coming. Jiang Xiaowei smiled, revealing her signature canine teeth. Huamin felt a lot more relaxed. Luckily, Jiang Xiaowei saved the day. They were going to leave after dinner, but Jiang Xiaowei wouldn't let them. After the guests left, Jiang Xiaowei and Wei Liao changed out of their casual clothes. Then, the four of them prepared to continue eating. However, just as they got into the car, Jiang Xiaowei's phone rang. It was Du Jianan calling. Xiaowei. I'm sorry. It's okay. Xiaowei. Tingmei slit her wrist today in the county town. I couldn't watch her die, so I sent her to the hospital. But I know my parents won't accept her, and she won't be my wife in the end. Du Jinan's voice was a little hoarse. He didn't sound like he was lying, because he sounded very tired. So? Jiang Xiaowei raised her eyebrows. So, can we postpone our engagement for a few days? Du Jinan asked tentatively. Ha ha ha. Jiang Xiaowei chuckled softly. Xiaowei, give me a chance, I'll be good to you. We'll get married at the end of the year. I promise I won't have anything to do with Tingmei anymore. Du Jinan hurriedly promised. I'm sorry, you couldn't attend the engagement party today, but someone else already did it for you. What do you mean? Du Jinan was confused. At this moment, he was still in the county town. After rescuing the secretary, he turned on his phone and called Jiang Xiaowei first. Although he didn't love Jiang Xiaowei, she was indeed a good choice for his wife. She was young and pretty, a straight-A student who came back from overseas, came from a family of scholars, had a high income, and worked in the police department. It couldn't be any more perfect. If he married a woman like her, he would be happy to be a vase, right? Although they had only met once before, they had a meal together. What I mean is, you were eliminated because you were late. You don't get a second chance, and I've already given it to someone else. I'm already engaged, thank you for making my marriage. I'll treat you to sweets when we get married. After speaking, Jiang Xiaowei swiftly hung up the phone, then, she decisively blacklisted him. She didn't care what his reason was. She couldn't forgive him for standing her up at the engagement party. She didn't know how, she Huamian, and she didn't know how she was. If Wei Liao didn't save her today, she would have become a joke, so, she would never choose to forgive those who hurt her, and she would never give those who hurt her a second chance to hurt her. Who was it? Wei Liao asked nonchalantly. Du Jinan, Jiang Xiaowei replied honestly. Is that the guy who ran away? Huamin honestly didn't have a good impression of Gao Ran's cousin. Compared to Gao Ran's character, Huamian's was worlds apart. Yeah, he said he was sorry and asked if I could postpone the wedding party. Fuck. I can't believe he said something like that. I'm going to punch him in the face, so you cursed. Wei Liao smiled but didn't say anything. He should be thankful that Du Jinan ran away. He helped him and Jiang Xiaowei get married in a chaotic world. Do I look like someone who's easy to bully? Jiang Xiaowei smiled as she asked the three people in the car. Chapter 7:11. The other three shook their heads in unison. No one was easy to bully, not even Jiang Xiaowei. She was too terrifying. Thinking back to the day when she made Wei Liao run around naked at Seductive Fox, she still had lingering fears. She looked at the time and saw that it was almost time for Qin Chu to get off work. Huamin immediately said, "No, you guys go have fun. I have to pick up my husband from work." Pick him up? Can't he find his way home? Su Yu looked at him with disdain. They're just a couple, go. Jiang Xiaowei was more understanding. Therefore, Huamin was driven back to the hotel entrance and drove to GK. Seeing that Huamin had left, Su Yu got out of the car and left as well. Suddenly, only Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei were left in the Mercedes-Benz RV. Where are we going next? Jiang Xiaowei asked. Whatever you say, I'll listen to you. Wei Liao was still a bit reserved. After all, he wasn't prepared for this sudden engagement at all. It was too sudden. Let's go to my place. Wei Liao was surprised by Jiang Xiaowei's openness. Then she added, my parents don't know you that well yet. Wei Liao suddenly realized what was going on. You live with your parents. Of course, where else did you think? Jiang Xiaowei looked at him with disdain. Okay, maybe I'm thinking too much. I thought you were going to bed. Jiang Xiaowei finished his sentence for him. Ahem. Wei Liao was embarrassed and coughed violently. We're engaged, of course we're going to bed, but not at my place. My parents are at home and the soundproofing isn't good, so I can't go all out. Wei Liao didn't know what to say when he saw Jiang Xiaowei being so generous. I have my own private villa, and I've always lived by myself. If you don't mind, you can move in with me. Wei Liao took the initiative to invite him. I'll think about it. Jiang Xiaowei nodded. Then, the two of them went to the Jiang family. Wei Liao was a very good person. He instructed his subordinates to take out a treasured tea set from his villa and give it to Mr. Jiang. She also asked someone to buy a top-grade scarf and bird's nest from Mother Jiang. The Jiang family treated him very warmly. After all, he had sincerely saved the day. But on the other side, the Wei family exploded. Wei family mansion, what? How come I don't know that my son is engaged to someone? Father Wei's temper flared. Is this a joke? Mother Wei had just returned from Thailand. She was quite surprised to hear that her son was engaged. It's not a joke, my second brother is engaged. Who would joke about such a big thing? Wei Ying, the third son of the Wei family, sat on the sofa and ate some fruit as she spoke. What the hell? Hurry up and call that bastard and tell him to come back. Father Wei was furious. I did, but his phone was turned off, Wei Ying said as she took a bite of the apple. Preposterous. While Wei Liao was having a heartwarming dinner at the Jiang family's house, the Wei family was in chaos. Huamin drove to GK headquarters. It was still early, and he heard that there was an indoor shoot for celebrities. Huamin went over to join in the fun. The set was a mess. Mo Shui and Ni Yang, the superstar duo, were going to appear on the cover of Livy. Livy was the most influential fashion magazine in Asia. GK Film and Television placed a lot of importance on this, so they were not satisfied even after a whole day of shooting. When Huamin walked in, the director of the magazine thought she was doing odd jobs. So, he ordered, "Go and get me a bottle of water, I'm thirsty." Okay. Huamin looked around but didn't see any water. In the end, she had no choice but to take out an unopened bottle of Evian from her bag and handed it to him. The man took a sip and was a bit surprised. Wow, GK is amazing. Even the lowly workers are drinking Evian. Then, everyone turned around and greeted Huamin when they saw her. "Hello, a young lady." A young lady, is she? The director of the magazine was dumbfounded. "Director Wang, you probably haven't met her yet, but this is President Qin's wife." Sister Ingzi walked over and introduced her. The director's eyes widened, and his mouth formed an O. Chapter 712. Hello, I'm Huamin. Hello, a young lady, I'm Wang Min, the deputy director of Livy Fashion Magazine. The man didn't dare to be arrogant anymore and almost dropped the Evian in his hand. Sister Huamin. Ni Yang walked over when he saw Huamin. The photographer glanced at them and said, "Let's take a 5-minute break, thank you for your hard work." "How did the shoot go?" "I'm not satisfied, I didn't get the feeling." Ni Yang shrugged. Huamin looked at Mo Shui, who was resting on the side. "Shui, thank you for your hard work." "It's fine." Mo Shui was a little cold and rarely talked to people. However, she didn't have a bad temper and wouldn't throw a tantrum or give newcomers a hard time. Therefore, she had a good reputation. Ever since they signed with GK, their every move had been scrutinized. Everyone was waiting to see what GK's next move would be. After all, Imperial Star released 2 movies this month and both grossed over 1 billion yuan at the box office. Jian Tong became the most popular actress of the year. On the other hand, Annie Liang, who signed with GK, stayed abroad for a while because of the negative rumors surrounding her. Apparently, she only came back a few days ago and hadn't shown her face yet. Huamin didn't know her either. Huamin chatted with Ni Yang for a while and then with Mo Shui. Then, they walked over to the photographer and looked at the photos they just took. "A young lady, what do you think?" Director Wang asked. "Something doesn't feel right." "See, I was right. I'm not trying to pick on you, but even a young lady said that something doesn't feel right," Director Wang said. Everyone was a little listless. Sister Ingzi walked over and said in a low voice, "Young madam, we've been taking photos for the whole day. We've even had to apply and remove makeup 5 or 6 times. We've taken thousands of photos. Let's call it a day. Everyone, let's call it a day." "Huh? That won't do. We have to start the production of the film the day after tomorrow." Director Wang seemed to disagree. "Everyone is very tired. If we continue to work overtime at this time, we won't be in a good state. We'll start production the day after tomorrow, so there's still time, right? We'll finish the shoot tomorrow," Huamian explained. "A young lady, it's not as simple as you make it out to be. What if we don't do well tomorrow?" "Don't worry about that. There will definitely be a way tomorrow. Everyone, get off work." Huamin saw that Ni Yang and Mo Shui looked exhausted, so he didn't want to make things difficult for them. He clapped his hands to signal everyone to get off work. At a young lady's command, everyone was instantly energized. Afterwards, Min looked at the person in charge of film and television. Ning Jia, why don't you take everyone out for a meal? We'll eat, sing, and have a sauna. You can reimburse us later. I'll talk to President Qin. Thank you, a young lady. Sister Ning was a capable woman in her 40s. She was a professional manager. He was promoted from within the company and used to be the manager of the administrative department. She was very capable, and Qin Chut seemed to value her a lot. As for Shua and Ni Yang, they have special identities, so they probably won't be able to attend the meal. Help them book a table at Imperial View Western Restaurant, and then book a suite for them at the Ritz-Carlton for them to rest. We'll continue filming tomorrow. Thank you, a young lady. Sister Ingzi was overjoyed to see how generous Min was. Mr. Rich, let's be friends. Ni Yang half-jokingly looked at Min. Min patted his shoulder lovingly. Hurry up and take off your makeup and get some rest. We still have to continue tomorrow. Yes. After everyone finished their work, Min looked at Director Wang and said, Director Wang, please wait. Is there anything else? A young lady. Chapter 7:13. I want to talk to you about those photos. It's not that I'm looking down on you, a young lady. You're not in our field, so I don't think it's going to work. Director Wang was a serious person, so she didn't trust Min's judgment. Why don't you listen to me? If I'm wrong, you can point it out. If I'm right, I can give you a suggestion. Okay then. Director Wang sat down in front of the computer, half believing and half doubting. Min walked over and pointed at a set of photos. I've looked at these photos carefully, and I'm sure you have the same feeling as me. The photos are well taken, the lighting is good, the angles are good, and the expressions and movements are just right. But why do they still feel out of place? Yes, that's why I've been struggling. I've looked at these photos, and at first, I was just as conflicted as you. But then, I quickly realized that the problem wasn't the problem itself. If there's nothing wrong with the technique, then it must be the people. The people. Director Wang was a bit confused. Min nodded and continued, Mo Shui debuted early, and she has a strong aura. She's like a domineering older sister. Ni Yang debuted later, and he's an idol. In modern terms, he's a little fresh meat. Although they're about the same age, their auras don't match. Huh? You don't say, that's really the case. After being reminded by Min, Director Wang carefully looked through the photos. Although the clothes, movements, and makeup in each photo matched, their auras didn't match. It was like an unreliable older sister dating younger brother. A young lady, you've woken me up, but how do we solve this problem? We can't replace them, right? That's right, replace them. But GK doesn't have anyone more famous than them right now. Plus, it'll be hard to explain to the public if we replace them. That's easy. You can arrange for them to be partners. Find 2 top male and female models in the industry to pair up with Ni Yang and Mo Shui, respectively. Of course, you can't choose blindly. For example, if Shui is a domineering woman, you'd better find an older, mature male model. If Ni Yang is a good-looking idol, you'd better find a sweet female model. Director Wang gave her a thumbs up. A young lady is right. That's how it is. If you knew it would be so simple, you would have come here earlier to give us some pointers. We wouldn't have had to think so hard. Ni Yang and Mo Shui are going to kill me. I've taken thousands of photos today. I'm really tired of everyone. Just do as I say. Bring some people here tomorrow morning and start shooting. I'm sure you'll be able to make it in time for the production the day after tomorrow. Then, publish them in 2 separate issues of the magazine. That way, we can promote GK more. Hwamin had his own reasons for doing all of this. Not only did it solve the problem, but it also helped GK get 2 consecutive magazine covers. Wasn't that the best of both worlds? A young lady, you're so smart. No wonder President Chin likes you. I'm truly impressed. You're good at doing business. Hwamin chuckled. What are you so happy about? A familiar voice sounded from behind him. Hwamin turned around to see Chin Chu standing at the door. President Chin. Director Wang immediately stood up, as if he respected Chin Chu very much. Is my wife here to cause trouble? Chin Chu said as he walked in and wrapped his arm around Hwamin's waist with a smile. Chapter 7:14. Director Wang quickly waved his hands. No, the young lady not only didn't cause any trouble, but she also gave me a great idea. Of course, she also gave GK a chance to be on the cover. What a smart woman. As the director of Livy, Director Wang had seen all kinds of women over the years. So far, Hwamian was the only one who could make him look at her differently with just a few words. This woman was extraordinarily smart. She thought about everything and considered everyone's feelings. It was said that behind a successful man, there must be a shrewd woman. This was not a lie at all. With a couple like this running GK, it would be hard for GK not to grow. You must be hungry. Let's go eat. After Chin Chu finished his work, he heard from Yang that a young lady was here at the studio. He packed up and came over. Wait, honey. Let's take a picture. All the top photographers are here. Now. Chin Chu was a bit surprised. Yeah. We haven't had the chance to take wedding photos since we got married. This is a rare opportunity. Before Chin Chu could say anything, Hwamin grabbed his hand and dragged him to the set. Then, he gestured an okay to Director Wang. Director Wang understood and immediately arranged for a photographer to take a few pictures of Chin Chu and Hwamin. There were only 3 sets, but each one was perfect. Hwamin took out his phone and carefully took a picture of them on the computer. Then, he happily walked out with Chin Chu. If I knew you were so happy taking pictures, I would have arranged it earlier. Honey, I'm sorry. Chin Chu felt a lot of guilt. Back then, he married Hwamin so suddenly. There was no wedding, no honeymoon, and no photos. Now that he thought about it, he really owed his wife. What are you talking about? I don't care about that. I just thought it was a rare opportunity. You don't even know how good Livy's photographers are. Look at this light, it's 100 times better than a beauty camera. Ha! Hwamian looked at the photo from left to right like a child. Chin Chu followed behind her, his heart filled with warmth. Even if he was busy every day, when he saw his beloved wife in front of him, he would feel that everything was just fleeting clouds. Hubby, what are we going to eat? I'll listen to you. How about spicy hot pot? I like spicy food a lot these days. All right. After that, Chin Chu drove Hwamin to a high-end hot pot restaurant. It was opened by an Inner Mongolian. The beef and mutton were especially fresh and tender, and the environment was also very good. The 2 of them sat by the window on the 2nd floor, eating with relish. Suddenly, a woman's voice interrupted them. Chairman Chin, what a coincidence. Mr. Chin raised his head and saw Annie Liang in a tight black miniskirt. Her long hair was let down, and she was wearing sunglasses. She even had red lipstick on. Hwamin also raised his head to take a look, but he didn't recognize him immediately. It wasn't until Annie Leong took off her sunglasses that he realized who it was, President Chin. I came back yesterday, can you give me some work to do? I'm so bored at home. That was arranged by the person in charge of film and television, it's not under my control. Chin Chu's voice was very calm. He looked down and continued to pick up shrimp sliders from the hot pot for Huamin. Annie Leong pouted and said coquettishly, President Chin, don't be like this. That woman Jiang Linwei tricked me into coming here, and now she's gone. No one cares about me. I came to GK because of you, but I betrayed Imperial Star and suffered so much public pressure. Now that I'm here, you can't leave me out. I won't, don't worry, GK will give every artist a chance. Huamin couldn't help but reply when she saw that Chin Chu didn't seem to want to talk to Annie Leong. However, Annie Leong completely ignored Huamin and looked at Chin Chu again. With tears in her eyes, she said, President Chin, I heard that Ni Yang and Imo Shui are both going to be on Livy. Why can't I be on the show? You're being too biased. I'm just as pretty as Imo Shui, you can't be so cruel to me. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.